Music licensing reimagined.
Long time coming, like on the bottom of my feet from running. Cataracts under my eyes from hustling. Going from buying to selling the customer.
Move, fighter! Move!
Turn up the sun up from under the sun. We messing the limits. My mind running like Tom Cruise on the action movie. Moving the mission, they say that I'm tripping. I've been told I need a vacation. I'm finessing a visit.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers, and welcome to Stat Diggers for UFC Vegas 108, TBA versus TBA. UFC Vegas, who is fighting this Saturday? We don't know, but we're here anyway. As of now, it is a 10-fight card. Like, they might as well just cancel the card because I don't know what's going on. We're missing a main event. We've had fighters pull out. Looks like as of now, 10 fights. And there's a good chance that Rafael Estevam misses weight by 5 pounds. That fight gets called. We could have a 9 or 8 fight card by this Saturday, Weezy. What's going on with this week?
Yeah, it's a wild one. Sometimes that's just how it works out. But like, I remember when I looked forward to this card because, you know, we've got some, Abu Dhabi, and we had UFC 318. And then we've got some other destination cards coming up, including Chicago in August. And you know, sometimes you see that Apex card kind of wedged in there and you're like, oh boy, you know, what kind of fresh hell is this going to be? But then I looked at the card and I'm like, dude, I don't even care if they put a main event on here. I want to see Chris Duncan versus Mateus Rebeski. I want to see Elvis Brenner versus Ribovics. I want to see Vallejos versus Silva. There are some great matchmaking on this card. And I think it's a really fun one from top to bottom. So, you know, and it's all about making money at the end of the day. I mean, like, you know, yesterday's card was a great card, but I didn't give a shit by the end of it. I was getting rinsed so bad. I was drenched. My couch was drenched. Like my house was musty smelling because I got drenched out there by all those ass performances and anomalies that happened. And yeah, I lost money, so I wasn't having fun watching it, Brady. You know, so like I want to make some money on this card. We've got some really fun fighters on this card to talk about and some really good matchmaking. Like, this is how you do a matchmaking on one of these lower level Apex cards. Put a bunch of exciting fighters on there that are well matched and see how it all plays out. So I'm excited to talk about this one. I'm excited to talk about what happened last night too, because you know, there's some stuff out there on Twitter today. It's crazy. And yeah, we've got like another scandal to talk about today. And I'm looking forward to talking about that, you know, but it's going to be a fun card. It's not going to be fun reliving the ass drenching I took on last night's gambling bets, but it's all right, man. You know, we got to admit the mistakes that we made and move on and get back to the drum board. You know, take full cow and responsibility for our picks, Brady, and try to get a winning week out of this one. So let's find some winners to talk about today.
Yep, let's do it. And I found it funny before the show. I looked at how many people were waiting before we went live, and it's like almost 100 people were waiting for the show, and like there's no main event. I mean, look at the thumbnail. The thumbnail is 2 blank pictures squaring off against each other. I think people are really excited to talk about what kind of transpired last night. There's a lot to talk about, and we're definitely going to get into it. Before we do, so if you guys could like the video, subscribe to the channel. We go live, remember, every Sunday, 10:15 p.m. Eastern time. We are never a second late. We are always starting on time. If anything, I think tonight we actually started a couple minutes early for you guys because we do have so much to talk about, and we did want to keep it professional tonight. We do got to shout out the sponsor, and that is going to be our guy, Avery. Thank you, Avery, so much for sponsoring the show. Guys, go give him a follow at MMA_Very on X. Me, Avery, and Weezy will be officially attending UFC 319. We found tickets that weren't extremely overpriced and pretty good seats as well. So we're officially going to be entering the arena and watching a very fun card in person. And Weezy, your first card, right?
My first ever UFC card live. I can't wait for it. You know, they just don't come to Chicago, man. And when they do, they price gouge, you know. And so it's just been something that I remember the last time they did come here. I know I was out of town for a fact. And so it's just been a long time, and I'm ready. I'm ready for this, man. I can't wait to be there live in the crowd for UFC 319. Chimaev versus Duplessis is such an awesome main event.
Can't wait for that. That's in 2 weeks, but until then, we have back-to-back Apex cards, which is fine. But yeah, would like to know the main event. Hopefully, like soon. That'd be kind of cool. But we'll see. All right. So what I did today in the chat, you guys will see a poll. So usually I do a poll of the top 4 fighters that need help, but there was a problem. I couldn't get it down to 4 fighters. I could barely get it down to 8, and so I did get it down to 8 fighters. Is a part 1 and a part 2. It's going to be tournament style. The part 1, the top 2 advance. Part 2, the top 2 advance, and then I'll put the top 2 in each poll together, and we're going to see who needs help. So in the first poll, and I'll get your thoughts on this one as well while the people finish up voting here. Carlos Leal is the option number 1. He went out there and got knocked out by a 90-year-old man. Amanda Hebos, option number 2. She went out there and, I believe, gave Baby Shark her very first knockout win. Amanda Hebos, I believe that's like 4 or 5 knockout losses now. Jason Herszog, self-explanatory. We'll be talking a lot about that. And then Damon Blackshear decided to fight really smart in the first round and then decided to just stop wrestling and grappling the last 10 minutes and decided to even not throw strikes the last 10 minutes as well. So those are the 4 options. And I'm going to kind of end the poll here, but I'll ask you, Weezy, out of those 4, who do you think needs the most help?
Yeah, I did vote in that one, and yeah, it was Herszog. It's got to be Herszog. Like that was easy for me.
All right, so I ended the poll, but the poll's not showing up. But
No.
I know, but I remembered it. So, in 4th place, oh, there it is. Finally, get it together, YouTube.
Yeah.
In 4th place with 5%, Amanda Hebos. Nobody thinks she needs help. Okay. 3rd place, Damon Blackshear with 12%. And the 2 finalists that are moving on to the next round. 2nd place, believe it or not, Carlos Leal, 27%. And then in 1st place, Jason Herszog, 54%. Jason Herszog, Carlos Leal, you guys did it. You're moving on to the next round. So I'm going to create another poll here, and I'm going to add the next 4 options. So who needs to get some help? Part 2 out of 2. And the options are going to be option number 1, Nikita Krylov. Krylov forgot how to grapple. Forgot how to grapple. Next, we have Marcus Buchecha.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about that performance. Ibo Aslan is option number 3. Went to Dagestan for 8 weeks. He even did his own documentary. You can go check it out on YouTube. And he proceeded to go out there and land 15 strikes. So, well, if William Knight was out in Dagestan as well. And then option number 4 is poor Muhammad Yahya. So I'm going to start the poll. And the top 2 will advance. I'm going to hit up the chat, and then once we get through the chat, we'll end the poll there. But yeah, so let's hit up the chat. We got a lot to get through. These recaps are going longer and longer, but it is what it's fun. It's fun. So, Danny, first one in the chat saying we make a lot of Herszog jokes, but how does he generally not get investigated after that? Was that the worst ref performance ever? So, when I think about the worst ref performance in, say, the last, 5 to 10 years, 2 come to mind. The one that comes to mind first is the Benoit Saint Denis versus Elijah Zaleski dos Santos fight with Vagisil Kisiev.
And who's on this card?
Zaleski.
That's right.
Zaleski.
How about that?
And the other one is what transpired last night with Herszog and Muhammad Yahya and Stephen Wynn. So they credited him with 6 knockdowns. I counted, somebody put a collage together, a video collage together, and there was 8 knockdowns in that fight. And it's like, so I'll ask your opinion. Do you think that was the worst ref performance ever?
So yeah, there's definitely been some really bad ones. Do you remember Valentina Shevchenko versus Priscilla Cachoeira?
Yes.
Yeah. That was a rough one too. And there comes a point as a ref where you're going to see a fighter that might still be moving, right? Might still be looking to defend themselves, but your job is fighter safety. So like when somebody gets, if somebody gets knocked down twice, you've got to be looking, because your legs just don't stop working for no fucking reason, Brady. We're human beings. Like, how many times have you been walking down the street and then you just wound up like on the ground, not knowing how you got there? Has that ever happened to you sober? No, it's because our brains are connected to our entire body, and it's always telling it what to do. When you get hit in the chin, when you get hit in the face, when you get hit on the temple and your brain starts to shake around in your head, your legs stop working and you go down, right? That happened 8 times in that fight.
Oh.
Right? Now, Brady, do you have that tweet from Strong and Jacket? He was replying to Lucrative because Lucrative called this performance out as corrupt. And can we get that on the screen?
Let's see if I can get that on the screen for everybody here.
Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be awesome. But either way, there's bad reffing performances, and then there's line movement that seems to maybe predict that a ref might not stop a fight. And then what we have now is we have a conspiracy, or we have evidence of there being some kind of influence on the gambling markets here. Can you show that and get the comment off the screen, actually?
Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
There you go.
So we see betting lines going from -200 to -270, almost immediately. So a change of about 5 or 6%, of course, to the overs, Brady, so and this happens right before fight time. And then so we're supposed to believe that it's just a coincidence that these gamblers deciding that they wanted to lay -200 on an over 1.5, when one of the fighters involved in the fight is one of the worst fighters that's ever been in the UFC and would never have sniffed the inside of an octagon unless he was from the United Arab Emirates, and this card was happening in Abu Dhabi. So you were already basically fixing the fight by putting Muhammad Yahya in there against a UFC level opponent. Okay?
Yeah.
Then you send Jason Herszog into ref, the guy who regularly attempts snuff film festivals underground across the country, the guy who is a death dealer in the octagon, so that maybe we might be stupid enough to believe that it was just referee incompetence again, right? Yeah. But it's not. It's not a fucking coincidence that this kind of money comes in, right? And then we have a ref performance where we see, how many knockdowns was it? Because he was credited with 6. But are we saying that he dropped 8 times?
He landed on his ass 8 times from a punch, yes.
Do we know how many significant strikes Stephen Wynn landed against this poor man?
Let's take a look. He landed a grand total of 92.
92 significant strikes over 10 minutes. That's a lot, dude. So right now, and I'd like to know, like, somewhere right now, I promise you, James Krauss and Jeff Molina are punching the wall because they got held to account, because they're not allowed to fix fights, are they? Right? No. They're not allowed to take advantage of inside information. But the rest of us we're supposed to sit here like a bunch of moops, Brady, and just suggest that it was just a coincidence. Because here's a prediction I'm going to make. We make predictions all the time, Brady. We predict fights. Like I basically said that Kevin Holland had no chance of losing against Daniel Rodriguez, a couple weeks ago. I've made some really shitty predictions in my life. And I don't say this ever, but I'm going to be 100% right on this one. Okay.
All right.
All right. So we saw a few years ago Vyacheslav Kisiev, ref a fight and act in a way that was completely indefensible, right? And he basically got exiled to a Siberian gulag, and nobody's heard from that dude since, right?
Correct.
And is it true that after that he ref that fight, he was literally escorted out of the arena, never to ref another UFC fight again, right?
Dana said no more.
Yeah, Dana actually was outraged enough by that performance, and a bunch of people got screwed betting that under, you and I included.
Yeah.
So we were on the wrong end of that. If there was corruption there, they threw Vyacheslav Kisiev to the wolves. But Jason Herszog is one of these referees that all the announcers talk about what a great referee he is. Boy, Jason, he even tried to learn Portuguese. But he did a pretty shitty job, because I've seen him try to speak Portuguese, to Brazilian fighters, and then he's just speaking with his hands and just speaking in English, and it's like, shit, man, my Spanish is better than your Portuguese, and I never. Well, yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. That's not what's important. That dude, we never heard from him again, Brady. We never heard from him again.
Never.
But Jason Herszog was allowed to ref fights later on that day after what was basically the worst reffing performance that we've ever seen. And then we get to see a tweet like this, where we're supposed to be stupid enough to believe that all these people ran the line from -200 to -280 over the course of about 5 or 10 minutes right before fight time, only for us to see Jason Herszog refuse to stop a fight that should have been stopped 10 different times over those first 7.5 minutes. So here's my prediction.
Okay.
People like us are not allowed to fix fights. People like Jeff Molina and James Krauss are not allowed to profit from insider trading, because, market manipulation is a very serious crime. I don't care what markets you get caught red-handed manipulating. You go to federal pound me in the ass prison. When that happens, Brady, okay? That's what happens. People, and regulatory agencies will not stand for you manipulating markets. But if you're part of the club that's allowed to do it, whether that's the commission, whether that's the guy weighing in the fighter who weighed in at 156 and a half, and they just tell us he weighed in at 155 for a championship fight, if you're the referee in the cage, if you're the judge sitting cage sides, you can fix as many fucking fights as you want to fix with absolutely zero consequences. This, to me, looks like a fixed fight, Brady. You have a couple of different things happen. You have a bunch of money coming in right before fight time on the over, and then you have a very weird coincidence happen that you see a referee let a man almost die in there to let that over cash when it should have never cashed. Who were those people who made those bets? That's what I'd like to know. And secondly, you know what I'd really like to know? I want to know what the fuck Jason Herszog has to say for himself.
Right?
I mean, because, here's my prediction, though. Nothing's going to happen.
No. Because
this looks like insider information. This looks like insider trading, but the man in the cage is the one who let it happen. Not one of the fighters involved who somebody knew had an injury and they went and they told their Discord, because that's insider trading and that's illegal, right? But this is commission sanctioned fight fixing is what it is. So my prediction is that Jason Herszog will be there next week or the week after or the week after, and he will not be breaking ice rocks in the same Siberian gulag as Vyacheslav Kisiev right now. That's my prediction. But I want to know what Dana White thinks about this, because this looks like market manipulation to me. And you remember when they shut down gambling in Canada for like a couple of months because James Krauss might have told his Discord that somebody was going to get knocked out in round 1, and it happened? I wonder if the Ontario Commission is thinking about shutting down gambling right now in all of Canada, ruining it for the entire province of Ontario right now in Canada because of this. Nah, because Jason Herzog's the one that allowed it to happen, and he works for the commission. and those guys can fix all the fucking fights they want, Brady. So I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of this shit. They made Krauss and Molina out to be like Pol Pot. You know, they exiled them from the community. A bunch of people were saying that they were the biggest scumbags that ever lived, but Herszog almost let a dude die in there. And he's going to be back reffing fights next week, Brady. Mark my words.
It's disgusting. Like, I saw him out there reffing the same night. I was like, what? Like,
yeah,
makes
dude.
No sense.
I said in my Discord, this man might never ref another UFC fight ever again. And then I saw him out there, and I was like, are you kidding me? Mark Goddard walked Kisiev out of the goddamn arena. He probably grabbed him by the collar and said, you're out of here, nephew.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so, this is, I mean, that's what I have to say about it, man. I think something's rotten in Denmark. I think this stinks to high heaven, and I think that some people made out with some pretty good money based on insider information that Jason Herszog was going to refuse to stop this fight no matter how bad Muhammad Yahya got his ass kicked. But you know what I think happened, Brady? I think they underestimated how shitty of a fighter Muhammad Yahya was, and they didn't think that he would get knocked down 8 times in the first 7.5 minutes, and that Jason Herszog would literally have to look like an insane individual in order to let this fight go over 7.5 minutes. So my question is, how powerful are these people that bet the over in this fight? And my prediction is that none of them will be held to account because they're probably extremely powerful because they were able to make a referee threaten his own career to manufacture the result that they needed to cash that bet.
Yeah, like when's the last time a judge has gotten, punished for a bad?
Oh God,
Never.
No, dude,
Never.
no. I mean, like if you or I were in charge of the commission, Sal D'Amato would be swinging from a rope outside of some Nevada building right now. And the rest of them too. Lee, Letheby, Adelaide Bird, my guy Ron McCarthy would be first up under my rule. He'd be first up to the gallows. But you know what? These guys, they're allowed to fix fights. They're on the list of the guys that are allowed to manipulate markets and fix fights. And we, the gamblers, we just got to hope that we're on the right side of the corruption when it does happen. I wasn't on the right side of it last night, though, Brady.
Yeah, same. And it's funny, like about a year ago, Herszog was the consensus like #1 ref out there. But this past year and a half, it's like he's been really bad. And I was one of the first people to catch on to it. I was one of the first people to call him out week after week. And now it's kind of cool to see people starting to kind of catch on a little bit. Like he's been bad. He's either like stopping, more often than not, he's stopping fights really, really, really late, or if not at all. But sometimes we'll see him stop fights really early, like really, really early, like the Imavov fight. Was it Imavov Cannonier? That was one of the earliest stoppages I've ever seen. So it's like it's been bad. It's been bad for Herszog. So we'll let the audience decide. Is it a coincidence or is it corruption? Coincidence or corruption? Yeah,
it's tough, because. Yeah, I mean, like maybe they think we're idiots.
Yeah, they could.
Maybe they just think like, hey, these guys, they're a bunch of mouth breathers watching dudes in underwear beat the shit out of each other. They're not going to get it, Yeah. But I mean, I've got a degree from the Harvard of the Midwest, Brady. You can't slip one by your Uncle Wheezy,
Exactly. So it's good to talk about it because more often than not, people just don't talk about it enough. So. Somebody had to say something. So yeah, shout out to Wheezy for that. And I'll close this poll now, Wheezy, so we can get the part 2, so we can get to see who needs to get the most help. So round 2, we had Nikita Krylov, Marcus Buchecha, Ibo Aslan, and Muhammad Yahya. Out of those four fighters, who do you think needed to get help the most?
You know what, dude? I lost 3 units on the Buchecha money line, right? Mm-hmm. So I should be really mad at him. I think he's 4th on that list. I mean, Yahya clearly needs help. His entire face got rearranged. Okay. Ibo Aslan goes to Dagestan for 8 months, grows out one of those crazy beards, and comes out there and does absolutely jack shit against Billy. He made Billy Elikana look like a busy fighter on Saturday. So, I mean, like, Ibo Aslan definitely needs help. Muhammad Yahya definitely needs help. And who's the other name in there?
Buchecha and Krylov.
Krylov needs help. Dude, he took 2 years off, and then now he's gotten served in the first round 2 fights in a row. Didn't grapple at all in either fight. He like forgot that he's got 16 wins by submission, and nobody in the division can wrestle. I mean, he just stood there and ate bombs from a white belt in Bogdan Guskov, man. So, yeah, I mean, I think all those guys need help, but I'm going to go with Muhammad Yahya. Muhammad, right. he needs help. He needs help, dude.
Well, let's see what the viewers decide. 145 votes. 4th place, believe it or not, this may shock you, Nikita Krylov. 11%, Nikita Krylov. In 3rd place, Marcus Buchecha, 18%. And moving on to the finals of who needs to get help, Muhammad Yahya, 30%. And who needs to get help the most out of this group is Ibo Aslan at 39%.
Yeah, Ibo really laid an egg out there. You know, I mean, like, he just didn't do anything. To get out-volumed by Billy Elikana is tragic.
All right, so this is the final who needs to get some help. We got Carlos Leal. Who was the other one in group? Oh, Jason Herszog. And then group 2, we had Muhammad Yahya, and then Ibo Aslan. So we'll let this roll for a little bit, and we'll see who needs to get the most help after last night. All right, so let's get back to the chat here. We got Dixon saying, whoever in the chat says they did well last night is lying. We were all on the chalk and got slaughtered. Yeah, it's either you didn't do well or you were contrarian and took some dogs, there's some weird outcome. Like RDR decision was plus 800. I knew Budai decision was a big number. Elikana by decision had to be damn near plus 1,000. So there was some Ricci by KO had to have been like plus 2,000. So yeah, there were some really weird outcomes last night. Poor Muhammad Yahya.
Yeah.
Poor Muhammad Yahya. Herszog, Buchecha, and Leal get some damn help. Looks like Herszog and Leal made the finals. Buchecha did not make the finals of who needs to get help. We got Pickle Kush saying, last night was one of those nights that after it finished, I went outside on the porch and just stared off into the distance for a while. What an ass shave buzz. And then he said a couple hours later, after I calmed down, my wife asked me how I did. I told her I broke even. That's what you got to do, man. That's what you got to do. Danny bringing up the tweet here. Just saw, Dixon, that the line went up from over 1.5, went from minus 190 to minus 260 across, multiple books. Very sus indeed. We got Dan from half the battle. Loving Dan's tweets today, saying Jason Herszog and Ibo Aslan need a psychiatric evaluation immediately. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. This is not true. It's not true at all.
Ridiculous.
What's going on with all these favorites losing the past 2 weeks? All my parlays are getting busted. The summer is supposed to be the all-time. It is. It's supposed to be Parlay Boy summer.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be Parlay Boy is supposed to be coming in here having fun, making their parlays and cashing them. But the last card and a half, it's been all dogs and it's been all old guys. If you're betting old guys, these last 2 cards, you are on a yacht somewhere. The old guys are cleaning. I'm going to be paying extra attention to the old guys on this card. We have Move Fighter. Yesterday was an all-time card. Yeah, all-time something. Ricci KO plus 2,200. Salikov KO plus 1,000. Wow. We got Jason Herszog needs some help. and I did not create this account. I did not create it. Somebody else did. You guys are later than Jason Herszog in stopping fights. Leave Herszog alone. He can't. Yeah, if you're an over guy, Herzog's made you a ton of money. That's for sure. What is up, Daz? Move Fighter. Yes. Tony C with the $9.99 saying a couple of takeaways from Saturday night. Herszog needs to be in prison along with Hadley. Agreed. For allowing Yahya to take that kind of beating. And Salikov proved that old man strength does exist. Yeah, both are true, Tony. Both are true. Yeah. Salikov gets it done at 102 years old, oldest fighter ever to win a fight. And Herszog probably does deserve a little bit of prison time. So, yeah, appreciate you, Tony, for the $9.99. No, we weren't late. That's just wrong. Herszog should have been reffing Aslan Alicana. Agreed. Highlight of the card was loading up X, just knowing I would see a Brady tweet about Herszog. Yeah, each time Yaya got dropped, I tweeted, "Move, fighter." So I had like 8 tweets that said "Move, fighter." It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Jason Herszog needs to be investigated, though. Real talk. Jason Herszog is effed. Herszog doesn't need help. I bet on the over in the Yaya fight and was pumped. So did Herszog. Leal needs, there wasn't enough back knee. And that's something we didn't take into consideration as a gambling community. There wasn't enough back knee on Carlos Leal. Not good. Not good. I saw some chest knee and some neck knee, but there wasn't enough back knee. Not good. Devon Blackshear gets some help. Agreed. The bookies shaved my ass last night. Yeah, they shaved my ass last night. Weezy's ass.
Too. Yeah.
It was very rough. Very rough. It can't get any worse, I'd say.
Yeah.
Bro got started by old man Salika. It was crazy. It was one of those things where it's like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. We got Marcel. What is up, Marcel? And Marcel actually cashed on Ricci by knockout. He was on Ricci knockout.
Good for him.
I believe he's on the fight. Doesn't go to decision. I believe he was on Ricci KO too. So yeah, disgusting hits for a disgusting man. Marcel's a disgusting man. Nobody go and check his camera roll. You'll find some of those disgusting pictures of Jessica Andrade that you'll ever see. But yeah, great hits, Marcel. Shows canceled, everyone. Brady's still in the hospital with AIDS. So I do have AIDS, but it's not full blown. So
good. You know, the last thing you need is that full blown easy E AIDS. It'll be over for you. So that's good.
So not full blown, just half blown.
Yeah.
So cash the plus 1,800 by KO for Ricci. There you go.
Very nice.
Can't believe I caught Salikov by KO.
Nice
Great
catch.
Hit. I was not expecting that. No, we started at 10:15. We started at 10:15. This upcoming card will be a very decision heavy card. Yeah, I believe 10 fights right now. Pipe the like button. Poor Yaya got piped. Yeah, pipe it up. Dr. Pina, are you in here? I need to ask you about something I found over the weekend. Okay.
Oh, no. Yeah, hopefully he's in here. You know, that's probably, you know, when you're looking for an ICU penis doctor, things have gone tits up.
Agreed. Move fighter, love it. City Boy, if you guys are watching from X, be sure to repost the stream to hit the repost. You know, let's get it out there. Let's get it out there. And we also got Big Tit Nurse in the building, and you'll get him this week. Yeah, we're definitely looking to circle the wagons. And it was funny. I did a stream before the fights on Saturday, and someone was like, "Is this your wife?" And I'm like, "No, my wife is a nurse though, and she does have big tits, but I'm pretty sure she's not on X. So no, this is not my wife." But shout out Big Tit Nurse. Good to see you in here.
Good to see you.
I tried to live bet Budai. Good. Would have been a good live bet. I was disgusted with that fight. Move fighter. We got Low T City Ortega with the $13.99. Appreciate you, Low T City Ortega, saying congrats, win on not only breaking the knockdown record, but also breaking the record for most move fighters ever heard in an MMA contest. I counted 69 move fighters. That's about 10 per each knockdown.
Wow.
He went through and tallied up the move fighters, and he counted 69. How does that? That's crazy. Shout out Low T City Ortega. Appreciate you, man. Get the milking start. Yeah, we'll touch on the milking pretty shortly here. Herszog was on one. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Herszog is on a yacht with his buddies. Yeah, Herszog and his buddies are eating good right now. Move fighter. Agreed. This card stinks like Irina Alexeyeva. Oh, I bet she stinks so bad. You could tell by looking at her, she kind of stinks. Need an umbrella for all this dookie juice falling from the sky's asshole. Okay. What? I've never even heard of anything like that. Lock him up. Agreed. What? Ash drenching of the week?
Yeah, I got drenched.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got okay.
yeah, it was
I got you.
drenching. Yeah,
I got you. Has anybody heard from him? Has he woken up yet? I don't
dude,
think
that
he's okay.
hematoma on his face. I mean, he looked like something out of a science fiction movie.
Yeah, it did. It looked brutal. Remember, BSD versus Zaleski. That was Vyacheslav Kisayev. Yeah, we never like we said we never saw him again. They took him off the card, and that's why I tweeted. I said, Jason Herszog, you are relieved of your duties for the evening.
Yeah,
I thought for sure they were not going to let him back in there, but they did, and I was shocked. And I don't know. I just don't get it. Michael Johnson, D-Rod, Grant, Salikov, the Unks are out. The Unks are getting it done.
yeah, they
Unks are getting it done. How do you insane people bet Muslim Salikov in 2025? How did you break out of the asylum? I don't know. That's one that I wasn't expecting. Weezy, the past two cars, my most confident pick, not only lost, but lost in spectacular fashion. Last week it was Kevin Holland, lost to 40-year-old D-Rod. And last night it was Carlos Leal, my most confident pick, Carlos Leal. And he got knocked out in 40 seconds. Just crazy.
I'd like to tell you that I'm immune from it, but I've put out two 3-leg money parlays each of the last 2 weeks. I'm 0 for 6.
No way.
On those. 0 for 6, dude. So this week it was Nikita Krylov, Marcus Buchecha, and Ibo Aslan.
Oh.
The week before that, it was Dan Ige, Kevin Holland, and who else fucked it?
Dan Ige, Holland, and I don't know.
I mean, like, dude, but I 0 for Junior Tafa.
Oh,
yeah. So literally, like taking like these are my 3 favorite, like my 3 most confident favorite picks. 0 for 6 over the last 2 weeks, dude. That's almost mathematically impossible. You could try to fuck up 3 consecutive picks every single week as favorite. You wouldn't be able to do it. I promise you.
Yeah, and if I were to do money line parlays, I'd be in the same boat because I really thought Holland would win. I really thought Ige would win. I really thought Zellhuber would win. I really thought Leal would win.
Yeah,
there's been some pretty big upsets. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but it's been weird. Has Herszog been indicted yet?
Nope.
As far as I'm concerned, no.
Nope.
But hopefully in the near future, but we'll see. Tabitha Ricci needs help for grappling Hebos and not Yan Jiaonan. Yeah, that was weird. Like, why would she stand at range with Yan Jiaonan for 15 minutes? I don't get that.
I have no idea.
Marcel turned 40. So Marcel getting it done at 40 years old. Love to see that. Unks are eating. Love to see it. Love to see it. All the options should have only been Jason Herszog.
Yeah.
Leal was an obviously early stoppage. I mean, if Herszog was in there, he might have had a chance, but luckily a competent ref was in there. I got milked like a fat cow yesterday. Oh, gosh. Prayers for Herszog for what? Stat Diggers, come for the milking, stay for the piping. Uncle Weezy, College Tales, and Brady's Karaoke are the real stars of the show. Looking forward to seeing you guys be bounce back big this week. That's exactly what we're going to do. I'll tell you what, this week is going to be a lot better than last week. I'm guaranteeing that. Lock it in. I'm going to do better this week than last week for sure. Looking forward to it. Herszog is straight up evil, he says. Herszog tossing and turning in his bed, right? Dang well Herzog's on Twitter scrolling, looking up his name, scrolling, and he knows he can't say he can't Herzog anybody because people.
Yeah, not this week, man.
People have caught on to his bullshit.
Yeah, dude, the silence is going to be deafening from him.
Yep. If he tried to Herzog somebody, he'd get Herzog right back. We're not taking no more. Marcus Bukaka, what? Aslan needs some serious help. Yeah, he sure does. Aslan laid an egg. Leave Jason Herszog alone. No. I need whatever. Yeah, let me get in Herzog's Discord. My gosh. Ibo Aslan went 8 weeks in Dagestan and forget how to fight. He did. I think he landed like 15 strikes in 15 minutes. We haven't seen a performance like that since William Knight.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy. Herzog's lifetime supply of steaks on his yacht because he had the over 1 point. He had it big, man. If Yan needs help, it's Herzog's fault. That's fair. But Yaya also does need help.
Yeah, he does.
Yaya just sucks. It should definitely be Aslan and Buchecha. Yaya's rendition of the Windows reboot meme. Yep, multiple times. Krylov's wash. And yeah, so I was actually going to place a bet on Krylov, like maybe a sub prop or a 1-2. And then I saw him at weigh-ins and he looked like 60 years old. I'm like, what happened? What happened over the course of 3 months, Krylov? How'd you gain 20 years in 3 months? So he looked pretty old. So I stayed away. But luckily or unluckily, my parlay crashed and burned with the under there. Arrest Kerry. Have they arrested Kerry Hadley? Yeah, I believe I saw him reffing the other week. Kerry Hadley.
Yeah, he's still in there. Yeah.
Jeez, did anybody die? We almost saw the first death in the UFC octagon. Almost. That's fair. But almost. Free. We got a Herzog. Is this Jason Herzog's burner? This is the only person sticking up for Herszog in here. And then you went on that rant, and people are agreeing with you.
Okay.
Agreeing with you there. How's Herzog? So there's two lists, Jamie. There's a list 1, list 2, 2 different rounds, tournament style, and Herzog did make it into the final, so you can go ahead and vote for Herzog. Top refs would probably be more likely to be approached. Maybe the UFC comes up with new knockdown rules. Herzog gets a pass because he's clean cut. Yeah, he is clean cut and he is in pretty good shape.
Yep.
He's on that kale diet. So what's worse than Esti Dumas in prison?
Yeah, when I was talking about federal pound me in the ass prison, it's a line from the movie Office Space. It but yeah, he's saying that's worse than SD Dumas prison.
Bring Herzog on Maury. Speaking facts, agreed. People agree with pretty much everybody agree with you. Is looking like, besides that one dude. I can't bring up that comment. Okay. Can't bring up some of these comments. Yeah, Weezy 100% on point. My question is, why the F couldn't he put him out cold? Dropping a man 8 times, then turn semi-artard as soon as somebody hits the floor seems like he was in on the fix. I don't know. Got the cow in here. What's up? Weezy's the man. Agreed. He scored around 178, I believe.
Yes, the 170s.
Y'all are being a little bit too harsh on Herzog. It's not that serious. It's just a coincidence, and maybe it is a coincidence. Sure. It could be a coincidence. We're not 1,000% it's rigged, but it's not a great look. It's not a great look. Galia should never step foot in the cage again. Agreed. Did he die though? No, not yet. Give it time. 177, crazy. He stopped the Lewis fight early.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Major dap to you right on how earlier I was one of the first 2 people. It's me, and there was one other guy on Twitter that would call him out about a year or so ago, and I was one of the top 2 to be the first person to call him out. So very, very proud of that. Did Herzog get too cocky? People thought Herb Dean and Big John was the real ones. No, Herzog was the best before he fell off, and he was the best. I thought he was the consensus best, but it's bad. It's been bad. What college is considered the Harvard of the Midwest?
Northern Illinois University. Go Huskies! Yeah, that's where all of the great minds in the Midwest, flock to get their education. There you
go. Let's see. Help. He is the UAE warrior. Gosh. Corruption, 100%. All the referees and judges have a role to play, and that's why they can't get held accountable and definitely not replaced. A McDonald's worker forgets to put the fries in, gets fired. No accountability. Yep. Not even a word. Not even a statement.
Nope. Nothing.
No statement. Nothing. Get some help, Aslan. Yes. Gonna try to get through these comments as quick as possible. We're approaching an hour. Let's see. 80-year-old Salikov giving Liawa's first KO loss in 29 fights.
Mind blowing.
29 fights. Parlay boys are down tremendous. Yes, and I'm gonna talk more about parlays in a second. Oh God. Oh my God. I had a feeling this would happen. I had a feeling Herzog would be in here listening. I don't know if I want to catch him outside, man. I mean, this guy's in good shape. Eats that kale diet. I don't know. But Herzog's in here. We got to be
careful. We'll be catching him in federal prison like they were threatening Molina and Krauss with, you know?
Yeah.
But probably not.
I sleep fine every night on my yacht. Y'all little bitch ass complainers. God.
You just won. You just won. I don't have a yacht.
Oh, who's getting peened up this week? We'll talk about it. How ass is Ebo Aslan? I didn't do any ass tweets yesterday.
A good one.
I don't know what got into me. We got Dravi. What is up, Dravi? Good to see you in here. Junior Tafa, yeah, he's not great. I'd be a little worried on some of these fights referring this weekend. Okay, thank you, Herzog. Ricci's ass looked fat as F. Okay. All right. Peener, where's my wiener? Okay. Let's keep getting through these comments. Did anyone see what? Let's see. Okay. Devil's advocate, if you forget how to put fries in a bag when that's half your job, you are not cut out for work. Okay. We got Narco Cop in the building. What is up, Narco? Good to see you in here. And he says, good luck this week. Already confirmed Herzog will be the ref for 4 of the fights. Oh, probably, man. Probably. It's sickening. Yep. We're in Vegas. Probably see Herzog in there. All right, so I'm going to end the poll here, Weezy. We're going to see who needs to get the most help. And it's not even close. 164 votes. In 4th place, believe it or not, Ebo Aslan at 13%. In 3rd place, Muhammad Yahya at 15%. In 2nd place, this may shock some of you. 2nd place, Carlos Leal. And then in 1st place, by far, who needs to get the most help, none other than Jason Herzog at 52%. Jason Herzog, get some help. Get some help.
Yeah, but he's going to get all the help he needs by people running cover for this, you know, because it looks like there were some people that are, you know, part of the club who were allowed to profit off of that over. And I want to be clear about something, Brady. I had no money on that fight.
Same.
I had no stake on that fight. I am not bitching because, you know, I got screwed out of an under bet. That didn't happen, you know, like that's corruption. That what we just witnessed there is either like the craziest coincidence in the world that certain people seem to know that fight was going to go over 1.5 rounds combined just, you know, on chance with the worst reffing performance that's been seen since Vyacheslav Kisiev was in the cage with the Benoit Saint-Denis and Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos.
Yeah, agreed. Herzog's on the poll every week. It's not a coincidence at this point. Herzog, a fan of the show? Fan of the show, Jason?
Yeah, right.
All right, so sure we're about an hour in. We're going to do a really quick rapid-fire recap of last week because I did a full recap on my channel, and it was, if you guys have not seen it, go check it out. It was pretty good. But so first things first, the Stat Diggers parlay of the week crashed and burned. The leg that hit was Nikita Krylov, Bogdan Guskov under 1.5. Check. I almost thought it wasn't going to hit because Krylov decided to
just kind of kickbox.
Yeah, just kind of stick on the outside. But yeah, the under hit there. And then the leg that did not hit was Marcus Buchecha. The on-site piping of the week was Shar Magomedov to pipe MAB on-site. Did he pipe him on-site? No, I believe he won 30-27 on all 3 judges' scorecards. MAB looked a lot better than I thought. MAB landed a really big shot in the 2nd round. Looked like he hurt Shara. Even mixed in some like he never wrestles. You know, mixed in some takedowns. So I was actually impressed with MAB's heart chin. Like he has a chin again, right? I mean, this guy got knocked out by Dustin Stoltzfus. So was it a piping? No. Did he win? Yes. But was it a piping? No. So we got to get back on track with the parlay. We got to get back on track with the piping. But most importantly, we got to get back on track with the milking. And this makes me sick. This actually breaks my heart because we started the milking of the week about 20 or so weeks ago. And the first ever milking of the week, he went out there and he did it perfectly. He did everything he wanted to see. He took his pail out there. He was in his overalls, the straw hat, the straw coming out of the mouth. He went in there and he got on his hands and knees, got dirty, down and dirty, and milked Alex Morono for all he had. Milked him clean, milked him dry in the first round. And it was the perfect milking. We'll never find a better milking. And then after that milking, we went on a 16-week streak of the milking of the week. A 16-week streak, only for it to lose by Omar Sy. And we thought, hey, you know, you did it. You did it the first time. You were the inaugural milking of the week. We're gonna plant our flag and say you're gonna go out there and you're gonna milk an 80-year-old. So last week, the milking of the week was Carlos Leal to bring out the milking table and milk 78-year-old Muslim Salikov dry. Oh, good heavens. Old spoiled milk. Yuck indeed, because he got knocked out in about 40 seconds. So we're going to get back on track with the piping, the milking, and the parlay. And just a quick recap for me, it was the worst night I've had. So I started tracking bets back in 2019. And how many cards have we had in the last 6 years, Wheezy?
Jeez, man. It's like approaching 40 cards per year.
Yeah, or a little bit more than that at this rate.
Yeah.
Worst card ever by a good margin too. We got reverse swept, which was my second reverse sweep ever. And I was gonna try to keep it light this week, and I kind of did pick my spots here or there, but my night pretty much came down to the main event going the distance. That closed out 2 parlays. The first leg of the one parlay was the Krylov-Guskov fight won't start round 3, which hit. The other leg was the Salikov Liao fight doesn't go to decision, which hit. And the main event fight doesn't go closed out 2 parlays, because I really thought, how was Reinier de Ridder going 25 minutes? But not only did de Ridder go 25 minutes, Wheezy, Reinier de Ridder won round 4 and round 5. Like, that's just not something I expected. And there were plenty of opportunities for that fight to finish. De Ridder hurt Robert Whittaker really bad. I believe in the second round, I thought he was about to finish Whittaker. And then Whittaker lands a massive shot that knocks out most people. The fight was almost close to being stopped in the third round. And then they both were just kind of too tired to, do anything the last 10 minutes of the fight. So my night came down to the fight doesn't go to decision in the main event. That was about a 6-unit swing. And then I had some bad bets as well. I had Liao by knockout. I got it at -110. I get to hold up my CLV trophy because it closed at like -160. Yeah. But this trophy ain't worth shit.
Yeah.
It's not worth shit. CLV does not mean shit. So I got a great line, but it got smoked. What else did I have? I had the fight doesn't go to decision in the Grant Blackshear fight, right? I thought that, hey, Blackshear, he has a big advantage on the ground. He should probably grapple here. And if not, I think Grant could potentially knock him out. And Grant did try to knock him out, but it's hard to knock somebody out that doesn't want to be there, that doesn't want to fight, that doesn't want to engage. And Blackshear didn't want to engage the last 10 minutes of the fight and kind of gave the fight away. Blackshear looked really good in round 1, even got a submission attempt in the first round and just forgot how to grapple the last 10 minutes of the fight. So that went up in flames. And then the other spot I had was, Marcus Buchecha to win in rounds 1 or rounds 2. And I knew it was over as soon as I saw him pulling guard in the first 15 seconds of the fight. And to be fair, he was kind of close to finishing Budai in round 2. He had his back, but it kind of looked too exhausted to get the finish there. I thought it was going to come through. So, yeah, Buchecha got me 1-2. That didn't hit. I had the Blackshear fight doesn't go. That didn't hit. And all these are horrible bets. Like, none of these even came close. Like Liao KO didn't come close. That didn't hit. The 2 parlay legs that hit got ruined by the main event going the distance. It was a brutal night. Like, it was a brutal day yesterday. It was a brutal day yesterday for me because I had to wake up early. I even got on stream. I had a good breakfast, got on stream and got on nice and early, only for me to get my ass pounded for 6 hours straight. It was just 6 hours of straight ass pounding. Like, everything that could go wrong went wrong. My picks were the worst they've ever been. Like, this card was the worst card ever for me. So definitely looking forward to putting it in the rear view mirror because we move on. Like, we move on.
Yeah.
And It can't get any worse. And we're looking to definitely circle the wagons here. So I'm going to put it up right here, put it out there for everybody to see. It's time to circle the wagons.
Yeah, it is, because I got rinsed last night too, Brady. And, you know, I mean, it was kind of close to breaking even, but it just wasn't a good night, you know? Like, I had 3 units on Buchecha at minus 197. Beat a ton of line movement there. Close fight. I thought you could have given Buchecha round 1. He definitely won round 2. So it was one of those fights where, like, Budai barely won round 1. He barely won round 3. Buchecha kind of dominated round 2, but you know, Buchecha's striking was actually better than Martin's, but because he forced the grappling and was so unsuccessful with it, Budai stuffed a bunch of takedowns, landed a bunch of good strikes, and won the decision. You know, he looked good, man. Budai looked good. That was a really good performance by him, so I don't want to take anything away from him and say it was Buchecha's fault. Buchecha tried to get his grappling game plan going, and Budai did a good job of stopping that. I had 2 units on Jose Ochoa at plus 100. Didn't work out. Almabayev had a phenomenal performance. He, like I said, it was a master class of crotch sniffing and lay and pray, but he got the job done. He executed his game plan perfectly, caught every kick. Every time Jose tried to throw some offense, Almabayev turned it into an opportunity to shoot a takedown. So I lost 5 units on those 2 money line bets, but I had 1.5 units on Renier de Ritter at plus 145. Wound up being a really good bet. I also had 1 unit on Bryce Mitchell to win by decision at plus 160. That wound up being a very good bet. And my probability parlay cashed 2 out of the 3 legs, and the leg that didn't cash was Carlos Leal by KO. So, you know, if Leal would have found a way to, you know, win that fight by knockout, it would have been an even day for me. I would have broken even. But yeah, man, like, I can't say that the Buchecha bet was a good bet. You know, it was minus 200 and he looked minus 115. So that was a bad one. And Ochoa not having a full camp to deal with the wrestling heavy game plan of Almabayev made that not a very good bet either. And then my 3-leg money line parlay went tits up. And then I also had 1.5 units on the under 2.5 rounds for De Ritter versus Whitaker. Like you, Brady, I thought that fight was going to finish quickly, if not inside the distance. And it went the full 25 minutes. So down 4.73 units. Had a couple of, you know, like the De Ritter bet was a good one. The Mitchell by decision bet was a good one. But yeah, it's back to the drum board. And I got to take full cow and responsibility, you know, for the bad bets that I made.
Did you see his tweet recently? He said he wants to take over like the middleweight division or something.
Yeah, middleweight division, man. You know, like he's creating his own divisions now. He's creating his own version of the English language. That's fascinating to me, Brady. I mean, he's a must follow on Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, I would suggest that you download it and then just follow SD the Reaper UFC, and you're gonna get a real treat.
Yeah. How much does it cost to sponsor your show? So yeah, we're always looking for new sponsors. Shout out to Avery, he's sponsoring the show right now. We're always looking for new sponsors, right? It's tough to get sponsors out there, you know. It's tough. So that's why we appreciate Avery so much for keeping the show alive.
Yeah.
And you know, I find so fascinating about this show, Weezy, the Stat Diggers. We are 1 hour in. We haven't broke down a damn fight. We don't know who the main event is. This is a 10-fight card, if that.
Yeah.
We have 500 people watching right now. We even talked about this week's card.
I know, but this is going to be a fun card to break down, you know, but we had to address something like the James Krauss story was the biggest story in the UFC for months. And we just probably had a very similar situation just happen, only it was the commission fixing the fight, not, you know, a rogue fighter trying to make money off of for his subscribers. So it's just going to be interesting to see how the difference that this is handled by the commission, by the UFC, the public relations nightmare. I hope it winds up being a goddamn nightmare, because this is a fixed. I mean, it was a fixed fight.
We'll see. My prediction is Herszog is in there this week.
Yeah,
the fights, and
Me
nobody
too.
says a word. It's disgusting. Disgusting. Less than a week after the tragic death of Ozzy Osbourne, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. Cedricus Dumas graciously wants to open up a metal division. I got
The
you.
middleweight division, yeah.
That makes sense. Makes sense. Middleweight division because he's coming for that gold. Okay.
Yeah, yay.
Okay. We really needed this rant session, Brady. I think we as a community needed it, after last night.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of parlays got busted. If you are a parlay boy, or if you're not and you had parlays last night, they probably got busted and it probably sucked. We got Dylan Kramer checking in from X saying, seeing Twitter rumors that Hung Sung Park main event versus Tyra. Isn't Hung Sung Park fighting next week? Yeah, I think Hung Sung Park was supposed to fight next week versus Steve Herszog.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, then that would actually make some sense that they would try to do that because, like, right now we don't have a main event. It looked like they were trying to do Waldo Cortez Acosta versus somebody, and Waldo spilled the beans like 3 weeks ago, but now the fight hasn't been made. So I don't know what's going on there.
It's wild. My thought process is I think they're going to get Tyra an opponent. That's what I'm hearing. And I do think Waldo will be on the card, but we just don't know who yet. So we could end up with 13 fights. We could end up with 10 fights. It's a very weird card. So, yeah, I say we get into it. We're about an hour, and let's talk some fights. We're going to kick it off with a banger. We got Piera Rodriguez going against Ketlin Souza. We got Piera Rodriguez, 32 years old, 5'3" with a 63-inch reach. Ketlin Souza, 29 years old, 5'3" with a 63-inch reach. We got Souza, 3 years younger, same height, same reach. Piera Rodriguez, 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She had a decision win against Kay Hansen, a decision win against Sam Hughes, submission loss to Jillian Robertson, a DQ loss to the very handsome Ariana Carnelosi, and then a decision win against Josephine Knudsen. As far as Ketlin Souza, 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Made her debut against Karina Silva, lost that fight by first round sub. She beat Marnik Man by decision. She submitted Yasmin Haregi, and then she lost to Angela Hill by split decision. So this is a fight where, I don't know, Piera Rodriguez, I think she's a lot better than I thought she was initially. So I believe she is either a brown belt or a black belt. She is a solid grappler, and her striking is actually pretty solid. I was impressed with her striking in a lot of her fights, but I was actually there live for her last fight. Knudsen was a decent-sized favorite, I believe, and I kind of thought Knudsen would go out there and not only win, but probably make it look, fairly easy, but Piera Rodriguez showed up and looked like Khabib Nurmagomedov out there. It was ridiculous. I think she landed upwards of like 10 takedowns, over 10 minutes of control time, and going out there and doing that to Knudsen, like really open. Maybe Rodriguez isn't as bad as I thought. And then I went back and watched some of her past performance, and it's like, yeah, she looks decent. She looks decent against Kay Hansen. She looks decent against Sam Hughes. She was looking pretty decent against Carnelosi. She hurt Carnelosi. Mm-hmm. She got on top and she headbutted her, and that's how she lost that fight. And really her only loss as of recent is Jillian Robertson, who's a very good fighter and on a roll. Ketlin Souza is another fighter that I wasn't too high on, but she's going out there and looking good against Yasmin Haregi as a big dog. I had a bet on Angela Hill. I was sweating. Souza looked good as the fight went on. She was aggressive. She looked good, but my concern is the takedown defense from Souza. Like Piera Rodriguez, if she can take her down, get on top, win some minutes, we could potentially see Rodriguez just go out there and do what she's been doing, getting takedowns. So I don't know. Let's see where the line's at. Rodriguez is currently sitting as a minus 190 favorite. Souza sitting at plus 165. Very interesting fight to kick off the night.
Yeah, and the money lines are bouncing around for these ladies right now, Brady, and it makes it kind of interesting, right? Because when you look at Piera Rodriguez, she came in against Kay Hansen, minus 125, won that fight. Minus 165 versus Sam Hughes, wins a unanimous decision. Then she takes a step up in competition versus Jillian Robertson. She's a plus 112 underdog in that fight. She gets submitted in the second round. Keith Peterson may or may not have been drunk off his ass, and there may have been some controversy there. So then she's a minus 220 favorite against Ariani and is running through her, and then just in a bonehead, dumbass maneuver, headbutts her once. Chris Tione says, no headbutts. And then she immediately headbutts her again. And I mean, like, I think it was Tione. He was just incredulous. He's like, what the fuck? I just said don't headbutt her. I know you speak English. So she gets disqualified and shits the bed as a minus 220 favorite, Brady. So then they make her a plus 230 underdog against Josephine Knudsen, and she runs through her looking like a Habib. So now she's off cashing as a plus 230 underdog. And what happens now? She's pushing minus 200 again. She's minus 190 against Ketlin Sosa. And Ketlin Sosa was made close to a pick'em against a tougher opponent, in my opinion, in Angela Hill. And now they're making her a much bigger underdog in this fight against Rodriguez than she was against Angela Hill last time out. And Brady, you were telling me, I didn't get to see the fight because I was out somewhere, but I had a bet on Angela Hill, and you were telling me that you thought Ketlin won that fight.
Yeah, I thought they'd give it to her just based off of damage and optics. Like Hill was getting hit hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she almost just beat Angela Hill as a small underdog. So she's coming off a really good performance. And not to mention, she cashes a plus 370 underdog in the Jauregui fight. So maybe the market thinks that they adjusted it too much in the Hill fight, but they didn't, because she performed well. She even outperformed her price tag, according to what a lot of people that I've heard talking about the fight said. So I think it's just kind of interesting that we're in this place right now, because Ketlin Sosa has been controlled for 25% of her UFC career thus far. Karine Silva goes out there, takes her down immediately, and just submits her. If Piera doesn't like how this is going on the feet, or Ketlin's swinging too wild, I think she's going to be able to get takedowns. But I don't even know if Ketlin Sosa is a better striker than Piera Rodriguez. So I do have to favor Piera here. I just wanted to kind of give people that background about how the lines have been moving here, because those recent trends are very important. And Ketlin Sosa has been a lot more active of a fighter. She's got 20 fights as a pro in only 8.5 years, while for Piera Rodriguez has been fighting almost the same amount of time, but she only has 12 fights compared to the 20 for Ketlin. So Ketlin's been a little bit more active. She has a little bit more experience. She's coming off a really good performance, just like Piera is here. So I kind of feel like there's a little bit of value on the Ketlin side, going from a pick'em against Hill to a plus 165 versus Rodriguez, when I think Hill's a little bit better of a fighter than Rodriguez. So it might be a little bit of value here on the Ketlin side. But if Piera can get her wrestling game going, and she does that successfully, she's probably going to look minus 190 or minus 200.
Yeah, and that's what I'd worry about, because I like Souza. She definitely grew on me a ton after that Hill fight. Gained a lot of respect for her. I thought she looked really good in that Hill fight, and even in a loss, right? But the concern would be, if Rodriguez does go to the takedowns and does have success, is Souza able to get back up? I don't know. So it's probably one I'm staying away from. But yeah, Rodriguez actually opened up minus 300. She's currently minus 190. Souza opened up plus 250. She's currently plus 165. The over, you guessed it, is juiced to minus 325 to the over, and the under is sitting at plus 250 there. So yeah, one I'll probably be sitting back and watching, unless I need to mow the lawn. I need to mow the lawn bad. So maybe I'll be mowing the lawn during this fight. Or maybe I can find some time to do it during the week. But my yard's getting a little bit too long. It's bad.
Yeah, and it's summertime. You can't let it go, man. Yeah. The neighbors are going to be pissed off at you, So you bring down the property values when you have that, unkempt lawn, know. So, yeah, this one might be I don't know, man. I would not. There's a lot of women's fights that I would mow the lawn, so to speak, for. But this is one.
But I got to mow the lawn.
Yeah, you do. No, I know. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, dude. This is.
I don't want to miss the Brenner fight. Like, I got to pick at least one fight to mow the lawn during.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I know which one it is.
Which one?
It's got to be Neil Magny, right? Any Neil Magny fight.
But Zaleski's fun though.
Yeah, I know. Maybe.
So it kind of tricky. Okay, I'll mow the lawn this week. I'll get it done this week. And yeah, my neighbor probably hates me because he goes out. He's doing his yard like 3 times a week. He's doing the weed whack, and he just did his driveway. He probably hates me so much. Hopefully he doesn't watch this show, man.
Well, screw him, dude. You don't work for him.
I don't, but I live next to him. Souza's wrestling is not it, and yeah, that's the worry. Yeah, Souza did get taken down by Hill easily in the first round. Hill kind of
That's
Stop.
why I bet on Hill. I thought Hill was going to wrestle, and you told me, no, man, she got a takedown in round 1 and then didn't wrestle at all. I'm like,
Yeah.
you dumbass.
Hill forgot to wrestle in rounds 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Pierre can get takedowns.
Yeah.
Whatever lady, I'd be shocked if either one of these ladies had a wiki feet score, but maybe I'm wrong. I've been surprised before.
Yeah.
Souza is a fun action striker, but his takedown defense isn't. Wrestling upside is huge for Rodriguez. Attempts 10 takedowns per fight is multiple times. That's actually crazy. You love to see that too. You love, like Damon Blackshear. He's an incredible grappler. He forgot how to grapple, right? Nikita Krylov. Oh, this guy, he can grapple. He's very good on the mat. He forgot how to grapple. Piera Rodriguez, she doesn't forget how to grapple. You love to see that with fighters.
But she's out there throwing headbutts like she's Dusty Rhodes, and that shit's got to stop, because, I mean, she totally gave away that Carnelossi fight. She was running through her.
Mowed the lawn before I do a stream before the fight, so maybe I can do it before the stream. We'll see. I'll figure it out. Let's see. In the most non-gay way, Luke Rockhold has fairly nice toes. Okay. I trust Brady's neighbor to protect the fighters more than Jason Herszog. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree.
He's vigilant about his own lawn, so he would probably be vigilant about fighters' safety,
Oh, dude. Like, he does the whole, he mows his yard, and then he goes over it again. And then again, like, he's one of those guys. Like, you just mow it once. It's grass. It's gonna grow. Just mow it once. He does it 3 different times. It's ridiculous. I do a lawn mowing live stream. I don't know. I don't know if he wants to watch that, but I don't know. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We have Rafael Estevam going against Felipe Bunes. We got Estevam, 28 years old, 5'8" with a 69-inch reach. Bunes is 35 years old, 5'7" with a 71-inch reach. We got Estevam 7 years younger, 1-inch height advantage, and a 2-inch reach disadvantage. Estevam 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He had a knockout win, TKO, on the Contender Series in the second round, a decision win against Charles Johnson, and then a decision win against Jesus Aguilar. As far as Felipe Bunes, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, made his debut against Josh Van, lost that fight by second round knockout, and then submitted Jose Johnson in round number 1. So yeah, I was very, very impressed with Rafael Estevam. I think this guy's like incredible. Like, he can wrestle very good. His grappling's legit. The only knock on him is, I'd say, the cardio. He does slow down a little bit as the fight goes on, like we saw in the Johnson fight, a little bit in the Aguilar fight. But he's one of those guys that can definitely push through it. Outside of the Johnson fight is kind of the one time where he didn't. But apparently he had something like some really bad health issue in that fight. But they said it was kind of affecting his cardio, but I think he's got that cleared up now. But yeah, the striking, we don't really get to see it much, but we don't really need to, because he's going to get you down. He's going to hold you down. The ground and pound's really good. We saw that on the Contender Series fight. And he's going against Felipe Bunes, who is a 35-year-old flyweight who's very fun and exciting. He has a sneaky good ground game. He's dangerous on the ground. He has a lot of subs. And then on the feet, he throws very heavy. But I think this should be Estevam pretty much all day. I think the takedowns will come pretty easy. And I just have a feeling once Estevam gets on top, I think he's going to kind of potentially milk this guy over the course of the fight, land some ground and pound. I think submission opportunities could open up. I think Estevam gets it done. But the books, they agree with me, Weezy. He's currently sitting as a minus 460, minus 460 favorite, and that looks to be best price out there right now, minus 460. So yeah, I like Estevam a lot, but the parlay boys are already on it.
Yeah, dude, first of all, Rafael Estevam is probably not going to make weight for this fight. This guy's an absolutely massive flyweight that probably should be fighting at bantamweight. And the reason we haven't really seen him fight very much is I think that the weight cut kills this guy. Now, he did make weight last time against Aguilar, but he didn't make weight versus Charles Johnson. And I know that he was on death's doorstep trying to make weight in that João Elias fight. But yeah, this guy is a crotch sniffer of the highest order. 20.5 takedown attempts per 15 minutes. Whew. I mean, and his striking sucks. Oh my God, it's so bad, dude. This guy blocks punches with his face. He throws punches like a 5th grade girl, but and that's why he's attempting 20.5 takedown attempts per 15 minutes, because if this guy spends more than a couple minutes straight at distance striking range, he's probably getting knocked out. So Bunis is going to have to try to keep this fight standing, but it's going to be a tough road to hoe for him, man. I mean, like, we saw him, what happened when he went over to fight in Russia, you know, and he was fighting these Russian crotch sniffers that are just as, committed to the wrestling as somebody like Estevam is. And those fights did not go well for him, you know. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. His wrestling is just okay. So Bunis is going to have to try to keep this fight standing, but he's got 0% takedown defense at the UFC level thus far. And but his control numbers are actually pretty good. He's out controlling his opponents 19.1 to 17.6, but he's attempting 10 takedowns. His opponents are only attempting 1.3, so he hasn't been efficient. This should be Estevam getting takedown after takedown and just kind of like, this will look probably like Ochoa versus Almabayev last week. But I'm worried about Estevam. I think that's the reason he took a short notice fight, is because he knows he could get away with probably weighing in 5 pounds heavy, which is, I think, what's going to happen here, because this guy is not a real flyweight. He should be moving up to bantamweight, but he just doesn't seem to know that that's his real weight class.
Yep. And if he does miss his weight, there'll be no like penalty. I mean, 20% fine, but like nothing's going to happen, right? So might as well miss weight if you're Estevam. Cheating is allowed.
It is.
I saw a lot of cheating yesterday. Like, was it Nurmagomedov had his toes in the cage for like the entire third round? Marc-Andre Barria went for a takedown, and Shara used the cage to get back up. You see that? So there's a lot of cheating going on. So yeah, he can miss weight. Why not miss it? Good.
Yeah, they'll never penalize Shara for anything in Abu Dhabi. He's not going to do that. So he's absolutely grabbed the cage egregiously a few times. So.
Oh, yeah. Yep, he has. But yeah, Estevam minus 460, Bunis plus 360, the over 2.5 minus 150, the under 2.5 is plus 120. What are the opening odds going to be for this weekend's main event between Schaub and Moicano? That's not happening.
I hope Moicano can move up to heavyweight and fight Brendan Schaub. That'd be a great fight.
Bunis has value, maybe. I don't know. I think he's gonna probably lose this fight convincingly, but Estevam wins round 1 and 2 and loses round 3, wins a decision. The problem with Bunis, though, is I think Bunis actually might have worse cardio than Estevam. Like, I think they both have pretty bad cardio. Pep is saying PTSD from the 8-unit swing on Pierre Carnelosi DQ. That's disgusting.
That had to hurt, dude. That's nasty.
Bunis' cardio is horrible too. Yeah, it's very bad. He's a full action fighter either. Boom or bust. 5th grade girl. Yeah, those 5th grade girls they're tough, man. They can swing. You got to be tough out there on the playground and stuff. I'm riding with Flippy Buns. Flippy Buns?
There we go.
Cheating inbreds piss me off. Yeah, I don't like cheating either, but hey, they don't do nothing about it. Yeah. Narco saying, miss weight, lose 20% of your purse, but give yourself a bigger chance of winning and get the win bonus. Yeah, exactly. Why not? F it, allow fence grabbing. The refs always miss fence grabs. They miss a lot of things, it looks like. They miss a lot of things. Heard Bunis drinks just as much as is Big Boy the guy that was saying Jimmy Cruz a drunk and was saying he was at the bar the week of the Pacquiao fight. I think it was Big Boy.
Might have been him. I don't. Man, is Bunis an alcoholic? I've never heard that before. I would have no idea though.
I can see it for sure. But
hard to be a flyweight and be like drinking alcohol. I mean, like you'd think you'd get like skinny fat and start missing weight all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Yeah, I'd caution on the parlays. Parlays have been just crashing and burning. But Piera and Estevam money line is minus 117 parlay together. Yeah, Weezy, by the way, if I place a parlay bet in the next couple weeks, I give you full access to just kick my ass in Chicago. Because I need to stop betting. I lost like over 10 units these last 2 weeks just in parlays. Parlays have been single-handedly just fucking me these last 2 weeks. And like the last year and a half, the parlay, no matter what I parlay, no matter how confident, Kevin Holland, he loses to D-Rod. The main event goes to no matter what I parlay, it crashes and burns. Parlays are evil. Parlays are evil.
Yeah, they're kicking my ass too, Brady. I am not making money on my parlays right now, so
it's terrible.
Yeah.
You try to join the parlay boys for a couple weeks and you get screwed doing so. So I don't know. Parlays keep the books in business. The house edge is much higher. Yeah, I've always tried to stay away from parlays. I've just been doing very bad on them. No matter what I parlay, it just loses. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is going to be Nick Klein versus Andre Puliev. We got Nick Klein, 29 years old, 6'1" with a 77-inch reach. Andre Puliev, 27 years old, 6'4" with a 78-inch reach. Puliev 2 years younger, 3-inch height advantage and a 1-inch reach advantage. Nick Klein is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He had a first-round submission win on the Contender Series in the first 30 seconds, and then goes out there and gets knocked out by Mansour Abdulmalik in his debut. As far as Puliev, he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Went out there and looked career best against Liam Anderson on the Contender Series, and then went out there and pulled a William Knight against Christian Leroy Duncan, landing about 15 strikes in 15 minutes. Yeah, I don't know about this one. So I was telling you earlier in the week, I'm like, man, I think Puliev's the worst fighter on the roster, and I was potentially going to bet against him this week. And then I look into Nick Klein, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know about Nick Klein. Wasn't too impressed with him. What I will say is I do think he's looks a lot better than he has in the past. Like, go back and watch some of his past fights, and it's like, very bad looks. Like, he's getting taken down. He's getting TKO'd in multiple fights. The cardio looks very bad. I do think he's improving a little bit, and he did, perform fairly well on the Mansour Abdulmalik fight. With all things considered, he was a plus 750 underdog. He went out there and won the first round pretty easily. Outlanded Mansour, I think 16-1. Landed nice spinning back fist. Even took down Mansour once. So I think he made a good account for himself, and this is a much better matchup. But I don't know how to feel about this one. This one kind of sketches me out. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight here?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like, when Pulaev was getting ready to fight Christian Leroy Duncan, I just heard everybody talking about, like, dude, this guy's horrible. He's horrible. And I'm like, he's 27, give the kid a break. He's a southpaw. He's 6'4", 78-inch reach, coached by Alexander Shlemenko. Fought some decent dudes in Russia. Let's see what the kid's got. And frankly, he kept it close against Leroy Duncan, but at the same time, he just didn't do much. It looked like he was kind of trying to stall. It looked like he kind of knew that he didn't really belong out there. And when Duncan finally started to get a little bit aggressive there near the end of the third round, he almost finished Pulaev right there at the end of the third round of that fight. And with Klein, he just came in there and just ran through Geraldo Sosa as a short notice replacement on Dana White's Contender Series. And he wins the first round pretty dominantly against Mansour Abdulmalik. And this has been actually a pretty common thing with Mansour Abdulmalik. It's like, you could put the guy in the cage, but it doesn't seem like he knows when he's supposed to fight. Like, he didn't do shit for 2 rounds against Brundage. That fight got overturned to a draw. Did you hear that, Brady?
Yeah, and I think it's an Eric Nixick thing. The Eric Nixick Extreme Couture fighters recently, some weird stuff's going on. Some really weird stuff's going on. I think Zellhuber went out to Extreme Couture and forgot how to fight. It's ridiculous. I was taping the Zellhuber Ribovics fight, and I was watching Zellhuber, and he was actually fighting. He was actually throwing punches, but against Michael Johnson, all he threw was high kicks for 15 minutes. So I don't know what's going on with Eric Nixick and Extreme Couture and Abdulmalik. Why didn't Abdulmalik start fighting until the third round against Cody Brundage? Makes no sense.
It was bizarre, and Klein kicked his ass in round 1, almost knocked him out with a spinning back fist.
Yeah.
And then he was winning round 2, and then at some point, Malik was like, oh, wait, that's right. This is a fight. I'm supposed to fight. And he took down Nick, and as soon as he got him down, he kind of immobilized him, and then he just started throwing the ground and pound, and it was just over. But, you can't blame Klein for that. Pulaev is not an athletic freak like Mansour Abdulmalik. I don't think we have to worry about him doing that. But, Klein, I'm just not exactly sure where he's at. Both these guys are pretty young in their careers. Only 8 pro fights for Klein, only 12 for Pulaev. Pulaev's got about 40 more minutes of cage time in those 4 more fights, and he's done those 4 more fights in 6 months less as a pro. So Pulaev's 2 years younger, 3 inches taller. He's a southpaw. He's got a 1-inch reach advantage. He's got more pro experience than Klein does. And he seems to be pretty well-rounded. His striking's okay. His wrestling's okay. He is 2-0 to the submission as a pro. But there was one interesting stat I told you, Brady, before the show that I think we need to be aware of with Pulaev. Before the Dana White Contender Series fight and then his most recent fight against Christian Leroy Duncan, he had 10 fights as a professional. 7 of those 10 fights took place in Shlemenko FC. And Shlemenko is Alexander Shlemenko is Pulaev's head coach, so he trains under this guy. So in the 7 fights in Shlemenko FC where he's getting hand-picked opponents for him by his own coach, he's 7-0. In the other 3 fights, he's 1-2.
Oh,
okay. And the one win comes against Nikita Kondratov, and he's losing that fight. He loses round 1, he loses round 2, and he gets a Hail Mary armbar after Kondratov completely death gasses. 10 seconds left in round 3, if I'm not mistaken. So this guy, he might have even been 0-3 on the regional scene. And like Kondratov hasn't fought since then, I don't think. Or maybe he had one more loss and then hasn't fought. So I'm not sure about this Pulaev guy. Like even like the Liam Anderson fight worried me because when Liam was going for takedowns, he was getting them. And then he was staying on top and able to win minutes. And I've seen Nick Klein wrestle a lot on the regional scene. The Huck Body fight, you're going to see him wrestle a lot. He wrestles a lot in the Dokai fight. He immediately chokes out Geraldo Sosa when they fight. He even shot a ton of takedowns in the Mansour Abdul Malik fight. So Pulaev's going to have to defend some takedowns here. I think Pulaev's probably a little bit better of a striker. I think maybe Nick Klein might be a little bit better of a wrestler. I was kind of surprised to see a lot of money coming on Pulaev. I kind of felt like Pick'em made a little bit more sense here, but it looks like a lot of money's coming in on the Pulaev side. I don't necessarily disagree with it, but I'm just kind of surprised to see either one of these guys being a big favorite over the other because I think they're both kind of relative unknowns how their skills are going to translate at this level, Brady.
yeah, I'm just not impressed with either guy like at all. What I do like about Nick Klein, though, is he's a blue-collar guy. You got to love that.
Yeah, he definitely is, man. I mean, this guy, he's a hard-working dude. He's taking fights at heavyweight, He's taking fights at light heavyweight. He showed up 2 heavyweight fights weighing in at 206 pounds, which is kind of a baller move because that's the minimum that they'll let you weigh in and fight a heavyweight at. And this guy's like making a point like, yeah, I'm not even in my real weight class, but if you're going to write me a check, I'll show up and fight a heavyweight.
Yeah, just a blue collar, just a company man, Klein. So
yeah.
This line's getting pounded in the butt. Pulaev opened up plus 145. He's now minus 150. Wow. And Klein opened up minus 170. He's currently plus 130. So we'll see where the line goes. The over-under set at 1.5. Very interesting. Because I just can't imagine Pulaev finishing Klein. I mean, maybe Klein is kind of chinny, but does Pulaev have a lot of power? I'm not so sure. But yeah, over-under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 is minus 195. The under 1.5 is plus 165.
Shit, man. I like the over there.
Yeah, because if it is a finish, it's probably a Klein sub.
I mean, Klein has been finished in both of his professional losses. But like Mansour Abdul Malik, we can't really fault him for that. And then the Dokai fight, he got stopped in the 3rd round there, and it looked like he was really slowing down. And it looked like Dokai was taking over the grappling exchanges, which is where Nick was trying to win. I don't think he quit, but I think Dokai was just kind of like working him, and he finished him with ground and pound, if I remember correctly.
Yep, he was on top, pounding away.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting stuff. We'll kind of see where the line goes, but yeah, I think I'm just not a big fan of either guy at all. Pulaev season Play Puliev at -110. Well, guess what? You get to cash that
Yes, you do.
CLV trophy. I know Propaholic actually does have a CLV trophy as well. Pretty funny. Puliev is extremely stiff, which is actually good here. Should be able to stay safe behind his jab.
But against a righty, you know, he's a southpaw against the righty. The jab won't be as available.
Klein sub. Ige also went out there and did his best to at least read impression. Yeah, Ige forgot to fight. Sometimes people forget to fight. You know, they trained 6 to 8 weeks and go in there and they forget to fight. Damon Blackshear forgot how to fight. Ibo Aslan forgot how to fight. It happens.
Yeah.
Brady, you play 2-leg parlays, which makes a ton of sense, and having good odds. There's definitely value there in long term. Just really shitty variants. Yeah, very shitty variants. And yeah, I do try to keep it at like 2 legs, but it's even that's not working out for me. So I gotta stay away from the parlays. Klein damn near KO'd Mansour. Yeah, very close. That would have been a huge upset. That'd have been the biggest upset since Kama Worthy knocked out his buddy Devontae Smith in a rigged fight. Remember that? They were training partners, and they Kama Worthy won it as like a +800 underdog. It's ridiculous. That elbow, that Malik by Klein, yeah, that was a nice elbow. Klein is chaotic. Milkman liking the over. I would tend to lean the over 1.5. I don't understand why it's not at 2.5. What's the fight IQ test matchup this week? So last week, the fight IQ test matchup was Damon Blackshear and Nikita Krylov, and they both failed. This week, I guess Pierre Rodriguez, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to find out. But yeah, the fight IQ as of recent has just been bad from some of these fighters.
Yeah, let's hope that Rodolfo Vieira just doesn't decide to turn into a striker against Teresian Gore.
Well, I have a hot take for that fight, and that might be my hot take. All right, let's move on to the next. Oh, it is Vieira versus Gore. We got Rodolfo Vieira versus, what do you call him?
Teresian? I don't know if it's Teresian or Teresian, but it's, yeah.
Teresian.
It's Teresian. Yeah, that sounds right.
So confusing.
We'll call him Gore. We'll just call him Gore.
We'll call him Gore. Who cares? Yeah. He's so bad. It doesn't matter. We got Vieira, who is 35 years old, 6 foot with a 73-inch reach. Gore, 31 years old, 6 foot with a 75-inch reach. Gore is 4 years younger, same height, 2-inch reach advantage. Vieira is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Submission win against Dustin Stoltzfus. Decision loss against Chris Curtis. Submission win against Cody Brundage. Submission win against Armin Petrosian, and a decision loss to Andre Petrosky. As far as Tresean Gore, he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. A decision loss to Brian Battle, a knockout loss to Cody Brundage, submission win against Josh Fremd, submission win against Antonio Tricoli, and then a knockout loss to Marco Tullio. So, yeah, I've never been high on Tresean Gore. I'll never forget his debut where he was a slight favorite against Brian Battle, and I had a bet on Brian Battle as a dog. And they're doing like the pre-fight interviews, and Tresean Gore's talking about how he's going to be double champion. And I just started laughing my ass off because at the time he had like 3 fights and he said he's going to be double champion. And he goes out there and proceeds to lose to Brian Battle, which isn't a terrible loss. Then he gets knocked out by Cody Brundage. He guillotines Josh Fremd and Antonio Tricoli back to back. And then he proceeds to take one of the worst beatings I think I've ever seen against Marco Tullio. Like, that was hard to watch. So, yeah, never really been high on Gore. But what Gore does well, and he doesn't do a lot well. He doesn't throw anything. He doesn't have the best striking defense. He doesn't have the best cardio. He doesn't offensively wrestle. He doesn't really do anything well. But what he does okay is he has pretty good takedown defense, and he is a black belt. So my worry here for Vieira, especially laying chalk on Vieira, which it's very hard to do because I'm still scarred from what happened in the Fluffy Hernandez fight years ago. My worry here is Vieira is not able to get takedowns, and this does take place a little bit more on the feet than we'd like to see on the Vieira side. If Gore is able to stuff these takedowns, because there has been fights where Vieira has not been able to get takedowns, like the Petrosky fight, like the Chris Curtis fight. And if that's the case, I think Vieira probably wins a striking fight, believe it or not, just because Vieira throws a lot more. I mean, Gore it's hard to win fights when you don't throw anything. We saw Dan Ige the other week. Didn't throw anything. Daniel Zellhuber landed 1 punch. Tresean Gore has no volume. So I think Vieira should win this fight. maybe he does take down Gore and submit him, but I think he can also, believe it or not, outstrike him because I think Gore's not going to throw anything. So yeah, I like Vieira here. He is 35. I do worry about the cardio, but it's just hard for me to pick Gore to win a fight. It's very hard for me to pick a guy like Gore to win a fight.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 2 UFC wins, and they're both by guillotine, and it's kind of just, I know Rodolfo Vieira got guillotined by Fluffy Hernandez, but that was a weird situation where it was a death gas scenario, and it was Fluffy Hernandez, Teresian Gore is not putting a pace on your ass. I mean, this guy attempts 7.8 distance strikes per minute. And have you ever seen this guy throw a counter punch?
I don't think I've even seen him throw a punch, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this guy, he shells up when you throw at him. He never counters. He doesn't seem to be comfortable countering at all. And here's the problem, right? If you're just shelling up when Vieira is kind of entering the pocket and throwing jabs, he's going to go underneath your shell and he's going to take you down. I know that Teresian's got really good takedown defense, Brady, but I mean, come on. It's Rodolfo Vieira. You do not want this dude on top of you. He's going to find that arm triangle, and it's going to be very difficult to try to get back to your feet without giving up your neck or your back. So I think, like you said, if this fight stays on the feet, Teresian just doesn't do nearly enough to be like worried about like him knocking out Rodolfo Vieira, but he's going to have to worry on the feet about the takedown entries of Vieira, which means that Rodolfo might actually win the distance striking exchanges of this fight. Brady, there are some terrifying statistics on this page right now that people can look at.
Oh,
how about 40% distance striking defense? How about a ratio of strikes thrown in a fight? He's attempting 7.8 distance strikes per minute. His opponents are attempting 18.5 against him.
Oh,
so like for every one strike that Teresian throws, his opponents are throwing like 2.5.
Oh,
so like he just doesn't throw anything. He's landed 0 knockdowns in 5 UFC fights. He does have 83% takedown defense, but he's still being controlled 18% of his UFC career. He lands 3.3 distance strikes per minute and absorbs 11.1 for an incredible negative 7.8 distance strike differential. Brady, for every one strike this guy lands, he absorbs 9. That's not a joke. Like, you can't make that up. That's pathetic. So it's like, I'm finding it really hard to find reasons to bet on Teresian Gore here, man. Is he going to win the minutes at distance striking range? Not bloody likely. Is he going to win the minutes in the clinch? I mean, maybe. But if you let your hands go too much in the clinch, you might get taken down. That's one of the things. If you're good in the clinch, but you don't want to get taken down, you don't necessarily want to be in that clinch, because when you're letting your hands go and your strikes go, especially knees, you can get that knee caught, and then now you can get taken down, and you just don't want this dude on top of you. So I don't know, man. I think Gore might be drawn pretty close to dead here, but every time I say that, these guys win. So I don't know, man. I mean, Gore still is younger. He's definitely like a really strong and powerful striker if he lands big on you, and he's a tough guy to take down. So maybe he can keep this close, but I think that Vieira's. I'm surprised that Vieira is not a bigger favorite, to be honest with you.
And I think it is probably because of that takedown defense and stuff. But yeah, it's just hard for me to pick Gore, because even if he does stuff the takedowns, which I think he actually could here, how's he going to win the fight if he doesn't throw anything? So yeah, I'm picking Vieira. And am I going to lay minus 2XX on him? Probably not. I mean, he's just not a guy I want to do that with, but we'll see. The over under is set at 1.5. The over 1.5 is minus 145. The under 1.5 is plus 115. Kind of a tricky one, because Gore did show some pretty dang good durability against Tulio. Like, he ate like 50 fight-ending shots there. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
durability doesn't matter against Vieira. He's not going to knock you out. He's going to submit you. So,
Yeah.
and then Vieira is extremely durable. That dude's intestines got turned to mush in the Chris Curtis fight, but he didn't go down. And remember those big shots he was eating in the Hernandez fight before he actually got taken down and submitted on the ground? He was eating big shots. So he's a very durable guy. So it's either Vieira by submission or this fight's going the distance, I think.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that over. Kind of surprised it's only minus 145. So yeah, might look at that. We'll see though. Trayshawn.
I don't see it. I don't see a Y in there. I'm pretty sure I'm right with Teresian, but I'm I might be wrong, but I just think like
I think
don't
you're
know.
right. I think you're right.
Exactly. I think I am too.
If I had to pick, I would lean Gore. Gore actually kind of looked good against Tulio, had his moments. I think we might have been watching a different fight.
He did land one big shot. I remember he landed
did.
one big shot, and I was like, "Ooh, man, like that was really good." But
yeah,
dude, this guy's a negative 7.8 distance striking differential is comical.
he did show a ton of heart. I got to give Gore that because I had the knockout prop for Tulio. I was like, this dude won't go down. It's Gore's time to shine. Vieira's cardio is so bad. Gore embodies Darren Till in more ways than just appearance. Yeah. I like Gore here at plus 180. I think he can win if he can stuff the takedowns. Was super durable against Tulio. Gore potentially getting milked here. Vieira only took Brundage down because he jumped the Gilly. Yeah, he jumped the Gilly. Marco Tulio gave Gore a slow and steady piping. It was a brutal piping.
Yeah.
Brutal piping. Trayshawn Gore to win because jiu-jitsu is gay, as Buchecha recently demonstrated. Yeah. Sometimes, jiu-jitsu has not been working out. Jiu-jitsu has not been working out recently. These grapplers have not been getting it done. Blackshear, Buchecha, etc., etc. He feels it there. On paper, this is an easy win for Rodolfo, so Gore wins by flying. Yeah, we could see a flying armbar.
Or maybe he guillotines him because that guillotine is nasty.
He might. Teresian.
Yeah, Teresian. There you go.
The over is good money. I bet that. I don't hate it. There were two overs that I liked last week and I didn't bet them. The Shara over, but it got crushed. And then the Aslan over was at 1 point plus money. Didn't bet either of them. So maybe I should bet this one. We'll see. Just imagine how Tulio's hands felt after that. Yeah, bad. Very bad. But we'll move on to the next fight. It is going to be a Rinya Nakamura versus Nathan Fletcher. Rinya Nakamura, 30 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. Nathan Fletcher, 27 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. Fletcher, 3 years younger. Fletcher with a 1-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Nakamura 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He had a first-round knockout win against Toshiyama Kazama, a decision win against Fernie Garcia, a decision win against Carlos Vera, and then a decision loss to Moin Gafarov. As far as Fletcher, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Ramaska, won that fight by submission, and then lost to Colin Loughran by a very close decision. I think they cut Loughran, actually. I think I heard they cut Loughran, which is crazy. Yeah. But so Rinya Nakamura, this is the guy that we've been talking about Fight IQ a lot, Weezy.
Mm-hmm.
This is the guy that showed probably some of the worst Fight IQ I think I've ever seen against Moin Gafarov. So against Moin Gafarov, Rinya Nakamura proceeds to go out there for 15 minutes and attempt one half-assed takedown. They credited him with one takedown attempt, but it was half-assed. Struck for 15 minutes. Not only struck with Moin Gafarov, he didn't throw anything. He pulled a William Knight for 15 minutes and lost to Moin Gafarov, and he was a massive favorite in that fight. He literally forgot how to wrestle, and that's what this guy is. He's a wrestler and a very good one, a very physically strong wrestler, really good grappling, solid cardio. He's a very good fighter, but he forgot how to wrestle. And now he's another big favorite. He's not as big of a favorite as he was last time, but he's still around minus 400. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not laying anywhere near minus 400 on this guy after the stunt. He pulled a stunt. I mean, that was an absolute stunt he pulled against Moin Gafarov. just literally forgot how to wrestle. So this is the one I'm staying far, far away from. Nakamura should absolutely win this fight, but I'm not laying minus 400 on a dumbass.
Dude, I think some of these guys that are from, Japan and Korea, and so they get exposed at this level sometimes, especially when they've got hype. And Rinya's got a ton of hype because he was basically born into the sport, I think his dad had something to do with pride, and like Rinya grew up around some of these, fighters that started in Pride and went to the UFC. So he's always been born into a combat sports scenario, and he grew up wrestling, and the guy was an under 21 world champion freestyle wrestler. So he's got the correct accolades. And then he comes up through that road to UFC tournament, and he's just like knocking out dudes, just sleeping these guys. And you're like, holy shit, this wrestler who's born into a fighting family, this wrestler who's an under 21 world champion freestyle wrestler. Now this guy's got power, and he's running through dudes on the feet. And everyone just thinks immediately that because you beat Shohei Noze and Toshiomi Kazama and Fernie Garcia, and Carlos Vera, that you're going to just run through Gafarov, who's got over 20 professional fights, is a Sambo world champion. The guy's got a 90% finish rate as a pro. He's got bricks for hands and really good grappling. You make him a minus, massive favorite against Gafarov. He goes out there and he shits the bed when he takes that step up in competition. And it turns out some of these guys have been fighting much better competition than you have. And that's why strength of schedule is such an important thing to look at here. And, when it comes to the strength of schedule analysis in this fight, I think Nathan's probably fought the tougher guys overall. He just performed really well in the Keelan Loughran fight. Loughran, I think, got several takedowns while Fletcher only got one. 6 takedowns for Loughran, 1 for Fletcher. Loughran gets about 6 minutes of control time. Fletcher gets a little bit over 4. But when you look at the control time positions, Fletcher lands 34 significant clinch and ground strikes while Loughran only lands 6. And then the distance striking exchanges are close, with Fletcher actually outlanding Keelan by 1 at distance, but he lost the fight. The odds. I remember being on Keelan Loughran. I had a bet on him to win that fight by decision, and I also remember Vegas needed a Keelan Loughran win, and surprise, surprise, Vegas got what they needed there, because I didn't think he won that fight, Brady. But the thing about Fletcher that bothers me is the tough fight against Con Offley, who's an okay wrestler. He just got drowned in that fight. He just got out wrestled. His takedown defense just didn't look very good, and now he's facing somebody who, if he does wrestle, he should be able to out wrestle Nathan Fletcher. But he just showed us last time that he might not do that, So it's tricky, man. Like I would much rather play the Nathan Fletcher side here at this current line than I'm not laying, this kind of money on Nakamura, whose best win is what? Is it Fernie Garcia or Carlos Vera, dude?
Carlos Vera. Didn't Carlos Vera just get a first round sub win?
Yeah, against some kid from the Congo whose parents got killed by chimpanzees.
Oh, come on.
That's not a joke. I couldn't make that up, Brady. Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. This, because that's what it turns out when you train MMA in Central Africa, that there's not a great infrastructure there. And chances are when you come to fight real fighters here, at the UFC level, that you're going to get knocked out by a grappler, which is what happened. Vera kicked that dude in the head and he went down like a sack of potatoes. So, yeah, man, I mean, like, I don't know who this dude's best win is, but I think Nathan Fletcher could beat anybody that Nakamura has beaten. But this line is where it is because of A, hype, and because B, we know what Rinya Nakamura is good at, and it's wrestling.
Yeah. So Nakamura actually opened up minus. They love this guy, dude. Nakamura opened up at minus 700, currently minus 372. Fletcher opened up at plus 400 and currently plus 297. So this is the fight IQ test of the week. Will Rinya Nakamura wrestle? What do you think? Do you think he will? I don't know, but I'm not laying minus 400 to find out. That's for sure. What do you guys like in here in the chat? That must have been a sweat. The fight goes plus 250. Yeah. Charlie is doing everything in his power trying to finish that fight. Fletcher got robbed last fight. I don't think he'd be this big of an underdog if he had won. Yeah, I had a bet on Loughran, and I thought they would for sure give it to Fletcher. Come on, Rinya. This has got to be you. Big Steve saying went back to the start. Wheezy will now be found dead in a ditch. Yeah, I'm worried about our Uncle Wheezy, man. I think they actually got him just now. What happened to Wheezy? Wheezy. They got him. I swear, every time Wheezy says something about the judging or the reffing, or every time Wheezy goes on to a big rant, like one time he did it about McCarthy, they get him, and I think they got Wheezy. So prayers for Uncle Wheezy. Hopefully he's doing okay, but I think they might have got him. Sickening. That dude was super stunting last fight. So a normal ref would have stopped that fight somewhere at midway mark of round 2 to call in a doctor to assume Yaya could see. Yeah, you would think, Barry McCockiner. You would think they'd bring in a doctor to take a look at the eye. But Herszog didn't look like he went, oh, are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I just ran to the can real quick.
Oh, okay. Oh, gosh. Yeah. I thought they got you.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Okay. All right. I thought they got you. Okay, you're good. Hey, guys, just watched the earlier part talking about Herszog. I'm not sure if anyone mentioned this, but Herszog stopped the Lewis Teixeira fight last week to make the Yaya fight even funnier. Yeah, I know our guy Lucrative was talking about that.
Yeah.
Because he kind of got screwed on the Teixeira Lewis fight. And then all of a sudden, 8 knockdowns, nothing. I agree. We need to get this to 500 likes. We are at around 110. So appreciate you guys for that. If you have not liked yet, be sure to do so. Definitely got to take a shot on Fletcher here. And we could see Nakamura take a shot on Fletcher.
Yeah.
We could see Nakamura and his buddy. I'm sure Nakamura likes steak. They have steaks over there in Japan, right?
You kidding me, dude? They got Wagyu beef over there. Oh. It's the best beef in the world, man. Yeah. I mean, it's just like you don't even want it anywhere past medium rare. You want to taste the full flavor of that. They got steaks in Japan, my friend, and they are world class.
Yeah, Wheezy's okay. He's all right. He's okay. They didn't get him. I thought they got him for a second, but they didn't. He just had to use the restroom, so all good. All right, so now I'm hungry for some steak. Some steak sounds good, man. I know Herszog enjoyed a nice steak over the weekend. A couple other people as well. The steak's good. The steak's very good. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is going to be a fun one. We got Danny Silva going against Kevin Vallejos. We got Danny Silva, 28 years old, 5'11" with a 70-inch reach. Kevin Vallejos, 23 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. Vallejos is 5 years younger. It's going to be Silva with a 4-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Danny Silva is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He had that Contender Series fight against Angel Pacheco where they combined for almost 400 significant strikes. He beat Joshua Culibao by split decision, and then he beat Lucas Almeida by split decision. Very underwhelming performance in that Almeida fight and the Culibao fight. You know, in round 1 he looked great, but kind of didn't look so great 2-3. As far as Vallejos, he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. His last loss comes against Gene Silva, and he had some success against Gene Silva in parts of that fight. And he's basically the only guy that's been able to survive against, Gene Silva. So that's, pretty impressive. And then he went on to finish his next 4 opponents, including Cam Teague on the Contender Series, and then also Sungwoo Choi, the last fight out. Poor Sungwoo Choi. So Kevin Vallejos is the biggest favorite on the card, sitting around minus 500. And yeah, it's hard not to pick him here. Danny Silva, I like the guy. I like his style. He's one of these guys that's just going to, pull his dick out and swing it for 15 minutes. But he's very hittable, very hittable. He eats one to give one. And it kind of seems like a recipe for disaster, doing that against a guy like Vallejos, who does have real power for the division. So, got to go Vallejos here. Minus 500. Should get the job done, but we'll see.
Yeah, this kid Vallejos is a very hyped prospect, and for very good reason. The kid looks to be the real fucking deal. Brady, do you know what the line was? Gene Silva versus Vallejos?
Yeah, I believe Silva is actually a dog.
Yeah, Vallejos is a minus 250 favorite over Gene Silva, and I could tell you why that was. Is because there was no tape on Gene Silva. Everybody knew Gene Silva was at the right camp and that he was very good, but there was no tape on him. He hadn't fought in any real organizations. And Vallejos had been fighting in Samurai Fight House, which is the Argentinian promotion. And people, I don't think, were thinking that he was, that's not the best promotion. So it's not like you're going to come in and be like a massive favorite, but everybody knew that this kid had a lot of talent. And that was back when he was 20, when he fought Gene Silva. He was only 20 years old. So this kid is clearly a phenomenal prospect. And, I wouldn't be surprised if he ran through Danny Silva. But Danny Silva is only 28 years old. He's going to be 4 inches taller than Kevin. He's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage here. He's actually got about 30 more minutes of pro cage time. And he's got about one more UFC level fight and almost 30 more minutes of UFC cage time advantage as well. So we'll see. Danny Silva, I think he's in a bloodline guy. I think he's with Cub Swanson, right? I think he trains under Cub Swanson. He might be at Bloodline Combat Sports. I have UFC Gym Costa Mesa here, but I think that was Cub's old camp. I'm not positive, but either way, Danny's a game kid who's going to go out there, and he's had 2 tough opponents. Josh Kulabau, Lucas Almeida, those are good UFC level featherweights. And he went 15 minutes with both of them, won split decisions against both of them. So this kid clearly deserves to be here. And he's another guy who is only 28 years old. He's at the right gym. He's got good training partners, and he's a good boxer. He does get hit a lot, Brady, but he's very low volume and he's very precise. I mean, he's landing at a 52% clip. He throws 8.5 less distance strike attempts per minute than his opponents do, but he's only landing 1.5 less distance strikes per minute than his opponents do. So he's very efficient, landing at 52%, and his distance striking defense is actually approaching 64%. So he gets into that pocket where there's going to be risk to get hit, but he moves his head and he counters really well when he's in there. But I think that Kevin is just like, I think this kid's gifted. He's clearly somebody who's going to fight for your money no matter what. We proved that in the Gene Silva fight, but he looks to be supremely talented and rounding out his game already at the tender young age of 23. This kid's already got 15 professional wins, Brady. I think Kevin Vallejos might be special, and I think that this is probably Danny Silva is just like a little bit older and a little bit less talented version of Vallejos right now. Where is this betting line at?
Vallejos is minus 500.
Ooh, yeah. Well, I mean, he's clearly a talented prospect, and when you got somebody as good as Vallejos in the current betting environment that we're in with the parlay boys fucking up our pool, Brady, he's going to be minus 500, and it's probably going to keep going.
Yep. Silva plus 375. The over-under is set at 2.5. The over plus 125. The under is minus 155. So the total is kind of tricky because Silva is like extremely, extremely durable, but Vallejos also hits like a truck. I'm probably staying away from a total on this one because I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones where even if you bet the over and it cashes, you're going to have 4 heart attacks because these guys are going to beat the shit out of each other.
And plus, like Narco said, there's probably a 1 in 4 chance that Herszog will be reffing this fight.
Unbelievable if he's already on 4 fights next week, because that is something that you would think if you fucked up that bad at work, Brady, you would think like you'd be in your boss's office the next morning trying to explain away how you almost let that dude die in there. But evidently, like I say, when you're fixing fights for the commission, there's no consequences.
That's true. There's not. We got Sasha saying finish work early. Happy to be here. Happy to have you here. Danny Silva is going to look great for the first 2 minutes before his chin explodes, and it could explode. Like, I do think he has a great chin, but you can only get hit in the face so hard, you know? I mean, this guy absorbed 200 strikes from Angel Pacheco. Angel Pacheco landed 197 significant strikes against him. I couldn't believe that fight.
Wow.
401 combined strikes, significant strikes landed. One of the most wild fights of the Contender Series. I've got PTSD. Can I trust this, Kevin? Oh.
At this price, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, like, the price is absolutely wild.
We got our guy Lou Sassoli in the building. What is up, Lou? We got to get Lou to sponsor the show. Lou, sponsor the show. We'll shout you out, man. We'll tell everybody to go check out your Twitter. Your Twitter game's really good.
It is
really good Twitter game. If you're a big fan of, you haven't been posting much balls or cocks and balls, or you've been posting a lot of Sydney Sweeney lately. Gotta love some Sydney Sweeney. Danny Silva has pillow. Yeah, I don't think he has much power at all. Fight not to. I would rather probably just do like a Vallejos knockout, because I don't think Vallejos, if you're not getting finished by Gene Silva, I'm not sure anybody is finishing you. How ass is Ivo Aslan?
Yeah. Ass.
Very. Sub Brady, sub Tio Easy. What is up? Fight Talk only. Good to see you in here. Yes, he is at Bloodline. I saw his Instagram. He's with Cub Swanson over there.
Okay.
Smash the like button, like how I'm smashing Sydney Sweeney's butthole. There you go. There you go. Always nice to do that. Vallejos KO1. Yeah, maybe I will take a shot on Vallejos by knockout. It can't be worse than my Carlos Leal knockout shot, right?
Probably not, right? Same price. It'll probably be minus 150 or something like that.
Yeah. If you F up that bad at work, you're collecting your things and leaving for good the next day, right?
Yeah. That's how the real world works.
Yep. It's crazy. You guys have a perfect on-time track record for this. Yeah, we're always on time.
Always.
We're always on time.
That's what professionals do.
And then apparently Kevin Vallejos tweeted this 10 minutes ago. This Saturday, we are going 2-0 in the UFC mother effers. # Argentina, # UFC. There you go.
So it's not just him. He's bringing Esteban Ribovics along with him for a win.
There you go. Wherever the Parlay Boys money is, I don't want to be. Same, man. These last 2 weeks.
That right, dude. These
last 2 weeks, the Parlay Boys are in, and I have been one of the Parlay Boys these last 2 weeks. I need to stop it. How does one sponsor this? You got to fill out a form. No, I don't actually know.
Trey Sermon's an NFL player, so like, that would be awesome if he sponsored this show, man. Yeah, we're just looking for somebody to help out with a little bit of money, and we'll say whatever you want us to. We're not proud people, okay? We will alter our personal beliefs if you want us to say something, and you're gonna pay us and the check clears. Anybody can sponsor this show, Trey Sermon. You just reach out to us on Twitter at MMA Wheezy, at DFS_numbers. Holler at us.
Hit us up. We're always looking for sponsors, man. Keep the show rolling. So that's why we appreciate our guy Avery. I mean, if Avery wasn't here sponsoring the show, I mean, we would literally not be here doing it. So Trey Sermon, former running back from the Colts, right?
Yep.
Nice.
Pretty good one, man. Indianapolis, stand up. That's where my brother lives. The Colts, Indianapolis loves their Colts, man.
Yeah, heck yeah. Shout out to Trey Sermon, fan of the show. If we have a lot of fans of the shows, but another star in the building. Another star in the building. There we go. Vallejos by decision. I could see it. Yeah, Silva is tough, but he is going to get hit in the face quite hard. So we'll see. Ohio State legend. There we go.
Yeah, it's a great. That's your favorite school, right? Even though you didn't go there.
Yeah, I went to Penn State, but I root for Ohio State.
Yeah, that's wild, dude. You don't root for the school. Like, you do root for Penn State, though, right? Like when they're not playing Ohio State.
Yeah, when they're not playing Ohio State.
Okay,
right? But if they're playing each other, I got to go Ohio State.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I actually wanted to go to Ohio State as a kid, but didn't happen, sadly. But Penn State's cool as well. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is going to be, oh boy,
yeah.
We've been talking about these old guys, man. They've been getting it done, but the problem here is they put them up against each other. So what do we do? We got Neil Magny versus Elijah Zaleski dos Santos. We got Magny, 37 years old, 6'3" with an 80-inch reach. Zaleski, 38 years old, 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. We got Magny 1 year younger, believe it or not. That kind of shocked me when I saw Magny was the younger fighter here.
Yeah.
But yeah, younger by a year. Doesn't look like it in the cage, but he's a 4-inch height advantage and a 7-inch reach advantage. Magny is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. A decision win against Phil Rowe. Decision loss to Ian Gary. Knockout win against Mike Malott. Knockout loss to Michael Morales. And then a knockout loss to Carlos Prates. As far as Elijah Zaleski, he's a 2-1 draw in his last 5 fights. He had that decision win against Abubakar Nurmagomedov, a draw against Renat Fakhretdinov, decision loss to Randy Brown, a knockout win against poor Zach Scroggin. I mean, he got knocked out. I believe they cut him after. He got beat so bad that they actually cut him. They said, no, we're not getting you a 3-fight contract. We're actually cutting you because that was so bad, Zach Scroggin. And then he goes out there and gets knocked out by Chidi and Jaquani in the fight after that. So, yeah. Two older guys that are, clearly past their prime going at it, but it's hard to, watch Neil Magny of the past couple of years and just pick him to win a fight against really anybody at this point. Like, it's so bad. Like, the striking's no longer there. The chin's no longer there. The grappling's terrible. The wrestling's not there. Really, Magny does one thing good. And he does it good, and he does it well. And he's actually been able to win some minutes against Mike Morales, and it's holding guys against the cage. Mm-hmm. Neil Magny's good at holding guys against the cage, doing nothing with it, but that's how he won the Rowe fight, holding him against the cage, and that's how he's going to win this fight here, because at distance striking range, I mean, it's Zaleski by a mile, and if this fight hits the ground, it's Zaleski by a mile, but Neil Magny can absolutely win minutes just simply holding Zaleski against the cage. So, yeah, it's an interesting fight, I guess, but I just really struggled to pick Neil Magny to beat anybody. I've thought that Neil Magny was kind of on his way out for like years now. I'm kind of surprised he's still going, and I'm kind of surprised he's the younger fighter in this matchup, to be honest.
I'm not surprised that he's the younger fighter, because the one thing that Neil Magny never, ever gets credit for, and frankly, he should go into the UFC Hall of Fame for his activity, Brady. I mean, this guy has been in the UFC since 2013, right? He made his debut in 2013. So over the last 12 years, this guy has 34 UFC fights. 34. Dude, this guy has spent 416 minutes of his life in the UFC cage. And it doesn't matter who you call up. You call up Neil Magny, you tell him, hey, dude, we need a last-second replacement for Francis Ngannou. You think you can make 206 by the end of the week? He'd be like, I will be. Yes, he will show up to fight anybody. So, a lot of people give Neil Magny shit. This guy's a fucking legend in terms of just his ability to stay healthy and sign contracts to fight some of the biggest killers in the division. You look at the guys that Neil Magny has lost to, Randy Brown, sorry, that was, I'm looking at Zaleski here. Carlos Prates, Michael Morales, Ian Gary, Gilbert Burns, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Michael Chiesa, Santiago Ponzinibbio, Rafael Dos Anjos, Lorenz Larkin, Damian Maia. I mean, like, he most of these guys would never even sign on to fight one of those guys. So Neil Magny, and he's very good in the clinch, like you talked about, man. That's like when they talk about a classic Neil Magny performance. Neil Magny, over his 34 UFC fights, has outlanded his opponents 265 to 93 in significant clinch strikes. He's outlanded his opponents 333 to 202 in significant ground strikes. And he's actually outlanded his opponents at distance as well, 830 to 738. So you got to be really good at something to beat Neil Magny. Because if you're not going to outstrike him, if you're not going to out-wrestle him, if you're not going to out-grapple him, he's going to put your ass up against that wall. He's going to beat you up. He's going to wear you down, and he's going to win minutes against you. And this is he could potentially win this fight, because Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos is not a great wrestler. he's a pretty good grappler, but let's face it. I mean, this guy isn't drowning people on the mat at the UFC level. And he's a capoeira style striker who's doing okay with his striking at the UFC level. He's got a positive 0.4 distance striking differential, but he's only landed 2 knockdowns in 17 UFC fights. So don't tell me that Elizeu Zaleski is like some murderous power striker. He's not. He's a well-rounded fighter who can find multiple paths to victory, but Neil Magny's that too. And he's fought 17 more times at the UFC level than Elizeu Zaleski has over the last 12 years. So, yeah, man, this could be a close fight, dude. Neil is a lot bigger than this dude. He's 4 inches taller. He's got a 7-inch reach advantage, and he could put Elizeu Zaleski up against that fence because Zaleski has done well in the clinch and in the ground striking, but you got to remember he's a lot smaller than Neil Magny is. So, yeah, we might see another vintage Neil Magny clinch wall install performance here, and he gets his hand raised by split decision like he did against Phil Rowe a few fights ago. But, this isn't Carlos Prates. This isn't Michael Morales. This isn't Ian Gary. This isn't the level of quality of fighter that has been running through Neil Magny here. So I'd be careful if I was considering laying juice on Elizeu Zaleski, especially after coming off a loss to Chidi.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the clinch because that's like the one area where I think Magny has the advantage here is that clinch and the clinch stats for Zaleski. Are they good? They're bad?
Good. They're actually pretty good, dude. Elizeu Zaleski has outlanded his opponents 168 to 98 in significant clinch strikes over his UFC career, but he hasn't fought Neil Magny. You look at the level of competition that Neil Magny's been out there against. He's fighting the better brand of competition. I mean, you look at the names and it's really not that close. So I think that while Zaleski's good, Magny's bigger and he's performed better in that area of MMA.
Yeah, you got to favor Magny, and that's like the only thing he's good at nowadays. But
yeah.
So money is coming in on Magny. So Zaleski dos Santos opened up minus 185, went all the way to minus 350. He's currently minus 180. Magny is currently a plus 155 underdog. Yeah, maybe this line keeps closing throughout the week. The over under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is minus 175. The under 2.5 is plus 145. Very, very interesting fight. Magny dos Santos under 2.5 plus 25. It's not plus 2,500. It's plus 145. Should Zaleski have his black belt revoked after his performance against Chidi? Didn't really.
He got knocked out by a really good striker in Chidi.
Yeah, he did. Zaleski really only loses to people with a physical threat. I don't know if Magny has that. Magny's not really physical unless it's in the clinch. That's where
Exactly. He's not physical on the mat and he's not physical at distance or powerful, but in that clinch, he's very good there.
Yeah, like he's looked awful on the feet. He's looked awful on the mat, but in the clinch, he's very good there. And he could win this fight in the clinch. He definitely has a path.
Yeah.
Old man Magny facing 3 contenders in his last 4. Yes. I got Angela Hill and Neil Magny mixed up. Okay. I bet Neil Magny did get paid very handsomely to take on some of these fights.
Yeah, shout out Neil Magny, dude. He's said yes to so many fights that nobody would have taken, man. And I mean, like 34 times this guy has said yes to a UFC opponent. He doesn't get enough credit for that.
He's bring your lunch pail to work type of guy. No matter.
Yes, indeed, man.
Yeah. Neil is the fighter in the video game who is just okay across the board, but terrible nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say so. But I think both these guys are more than towards the end of their career. That's for sure. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is going to be, oh boy, Carol Hoza going against Nora Cornhole. We got Carol Hoza is 30 years old, 5'5" with a 67-inch reach. Cornhole, 36 years old, 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. Carol Hoza, 6 years younger. Cornhole with a 2-inch height advantage, and they got the same reach there. Carol Hoza is 2-3 in the last 5 fights. A decision loss against Norma Dumont, a decision win against Yana Santos, a decision loss against Irene Aldana, a decision win against Pandy Kanzad, and then a decision loss to Eileen Perez. As far as Nora Cornhole, she's 4-1 in the last 5 fights. She made her debut against Jocelyn Edwards won that fight by decision. She knocked out Melissa No Mess Mullins. She lost by split decision to Jacqueline Cavalcanti, and then she beat Haley Cohen by submission her last fight out. So this is a tricky fight for me, Weezy, because I think, skill for skill, who's the more skilled fighter? It's Carol Hoza for me, from a pretty big margin. But Cornhole's one of these fighters who's just a dog. She's a dog. She cares. She gives a shit. She goes in there. She's not the best fighter, but she gives a shit. She hits hard. She's going to come forward, and she's going to try. And we don't see that often, Weezy. Fighters going out there and trying, and she does. So I kind of feel like this fight could be a little bit competitive. Carol Hoza has incredible volume, but Cornhole's going to be coming forward, landing the harder shots because Carol Hoza has zero power. I think it could be like a close, damage versus volume type of split decision here. I think this could be a close fight. What are your thoughts on this one, Weezy?
Yeah, I agree completely with your breakdown because Carol Hoza, she's 7-4 in the UFC. I mean, you look at the level of competition that she's out there. Like the last 5 fights, Aylin Perez, who's like 5-1 in the UFC, I think. Pani Kianzad, veteran. Irene Aldana, top 5. Yana Santos, top 5. Norma Dumont, top 5. So she's fighting the much better level of competition. She got a 7-4 record at the UFC level, Hosa does. She gets more takedowns than she allows. She wins 60% of the control time positions in her fights. And she's outlanding her opponents at distance striking range. She's got a positive 1.5 distance striking differential. So Carol does everything pretty well. If she's the better grappler, she's probably going to get some takedowns. If she's the better striker, she's going to use that 70% takedown defense to stuff the takedowns, keep the fight standing, outland you, outvolume you on the feet. But the one thing I never really saw out of Hosa that I see out of Cornhole in all of her fights is like that Cornhole's going out there to kill you. Every single Carol Hosa fight, there's been 11 of them at the UFC level. They've all went to decision. So she doesn't really have a killer instinct, because if she had a killer instinct, she would have the offense necessary to finish fights, and fighters that really push a lot of offense are going to leave defensive opportunities for their opponent to find a finish. But that's not how Carol fights. And I get the feeling that you're going to have a minute-winning, round-banking, not-so-aggressive fighter get out-dogged in there by a Frenchman, in Cornhole, who's going to go out there looking to take your head off every time she swings. She's going to be looking to take you down and beat you up when she gets into top position. She's going to look to twist your head off if she looks to get a submission on you. But, she's 6-0 to the KO. She's 2-0 to the submission. She's finishing fights. While Carol Hosa's not really doing that at all. So, I kind of feel like Hosa is probably going to be, she's a solid favorite here. But I like those situations where the favorite is the favorite, but like the underdog has the finish only prop that's sitting at minus 200, where that underdog is the much more likely person to finish the fight and therefore could lose minutes, but find moments that wind up banking them around. So not only are they much more likely to finish the fight and win the fight that way, but they can steal rounds with aggression and damage as well. And that's kind of how I feel about Cornhole, because Carol Hosa is dangerous nowhere. She has no UFC knockouts. She has no UFC submissions. She's landed 2 knockdowns, but I don't remember her ever having anybody hurt or, in trouble of finishing the fight. I even remember like Laura Procopio landing like 150 significant strikes on her a long time ago. So, yeah, I think that this is what is the betting line here?
We have Carol Hosa minus 180, and oh my gosh, Carol Hosa opened up minus 400.
Whoa.
Yeah, and she's currently minus 180, and Cornhole opened up plus 330, and she's currently plus 155.
And if Cornhole can go to a split decision with Jacqueline Cavalcanti, who's a much better fighter right now, I think, than Carol Hosa is, even though she hasn't been tested at as high of a level, Jacqueline's striking is the real deal. So that Cornhole could kind of hang with her for 15 minutes and keep it close. I think that that's a pretty good sign for her to be able to find some moments and potentially some damaging situations against Carol Hossa here.
Yep. No, I think it could definitely be a close fight. I would say I'm interested to see what the +3.5 is going to be, but it's probably going to be the worst +3.5 ever for cornhole. They're probably going to put it like -260.
Yeah, because I just don't think like Hossa is going to be, like 30, even 30-27. Has she been 30-27ing any of these wins that she's getting? I don't think so, right? I mean, against Pani, it was 30-27 on all three cards.
Santos, no.
Yeah, that was a 29-28 split.
Landsberg, no.
Against Landsberg was a majority decision, so it was actually a draw on one card. Jocelyn Edwards was 30-27 on all three because she got 4 takedowns and 11 minutes of control time against Jocelyn. So that's what I was talking about, where like if Carol is well-rounded, so if you do have a hole in your game, she can find it and exploit it. But I don't really think Nora's got a lot of holes in terms of bad takedown defense or lack of power on the feet. So I think that this is going to be a close fight.
Yep. The over-under is probably juiced to the max. Yeah, -500 for that over there. -500. And then the under is, can we see a Tabitha Ricci Hebos situation here? I remember last week that fight was -500 to go the distance.
Yeah, but we had seen Hebos be finished before.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
And Cornhole's never been finished as a pro, and Carol Hoss has never been finished in 11 UFC fights. She got submitted a couple of times before the UFC, but obviously that was a long time ago. It's probably not relevant now. So, yeah, neither one of these ladies has been finished at the UFC level, and that's in 15 combined fights. So I could see why they're, it's a Carol Hossa fight. Every single fight of hers has went to decision and like probably had no chances of it finishing either. So yeah, it's going to be juice to the tits. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if it finished, but let's see. Cornhole's a live dog. Rose always finds a way to lose. Yeah, she finds a way to make fights, I think, closer than they really should be. I'd say. Agreeing there. WMA, who cares unless you have a fat ass? Well, guess what? Carol Hossa definitely has a fat ass, right?
Yeah, she does, man. But it belongs to Denise Gomez.
Yeah,
so I mean, do with that what you will.
It's all hers. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep moving on to the next fight. We have a potential fight of the night here. We got Elvis Brenner going against Esteban Ribovics. We got Brenner, 27 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. Ribovics, 29 years old, 5'10" with a 69-inch reach. We got Brenner 2 years younger, same height. Brenner with a 3-inch reach advantage. Brenner is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He won by split decision against Zabara Tuhugov in his debut. He knocked out Guram Tukudaladze in a comeback from behind win. He knocked out Kanan Krachewski the fight after that. And then he lost to My Titty Back Oral Boy by decision. And then he got knocked out by Joe Alvarez by 3rd-round knockout. As far as Esteban Ribovics, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. A decision loss to Loic Radzhabov. A decision win against Camilla Kirk. A knockout win against Terrence McKinney. Decision win against Daniel Zellhuber, and then a decision loss to Nasrat Hakparast in a very close fight. Yeah, this for me is fight of the night here. I think these guys are going to go out there. Both these guys have that dog in them. Both these guys are going to come forward. I think they're just going to pull out their dicks, stand in the middle, they're going to get some measuring tape, and they're going to measure their dicks. And I think it's all going to come down to who has the bigger dick. And I don't know, which one of these guys has the bigger dick in your opinion?
I think Esteban. I think it's Esteban. I mean, like this guy. He's attempting 24.7 distance strikes per minute. So I mean, he's just going out. Yeah, dude, like the divisional average is 11.7.
Oh,
so that's the baseline. That's the height of the bell curve. There is 11.7, and this guy's attempting almost 25. He's attempting more than twice the divisional average. He's absorbed a ton of significant strikes and shown a great durability. And like he's the kind of guy where you can take him down 10 times in a fight and he's going to get up all 10 times. So yeah, Ribovics is a guy that I think is obviously somebody that's as aggressive and dominant as it gets on the feet. But Elvis Brenner has just shown us time and time again that this guy has absolutely got that dog in him. And he outdogged Guram. He outdogged Krashevsky. He went out there on short notice against Tukugov. and beat him in Abu Dhabi, if I remember correctly, on short notice as a massive underdog. This guy keeps proving people wrong. And if I remember correctly, that Oral Boy fight, that was fairly close, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of sloppy, and yeah, it was close, but he got dropped with like 1 second left in the third.
Okay. Because I think I remember I had a bet on Oral Boy, and I remember thinking to myself, man, Brenner is keeping this a lot closer than I would have liked him to. So, and then he loses to Joel Alvarez, who's just an absolute problem. So the problem I have with betting Ribovics in this situation, Brady, is that he's sitting around, over minus 200 in this spot right now, but he's not really a round winner. The Luik Rajabov fight, he loses 2 out of those 3 rounds. Against Camuela Kirk, he goes out there, he gets dominated in the first, and he wins the second and the third because Kirk can't get his grappling game going, and Kirk always seems to slow down late in fights. He goes out there and he just absolutely destroys Terrence McKinney with a head kick. McKinney's been knocked out in all of his losses. And then he goes out there against Zellhuber, and it's hard to know who won any of those rounds. They were all crazy. And it's the same thing with the Haqparast fight. You could have given Ribovics all 3 rounds. You could have given Haqparast all 3 rounds. You could have come up with any combination of guys winning and losing rounds in that fight, and you really wouldn't have been able to argue with it. So if you're a good striker who can keep up with the pace of Ribovics, you can land on him just as much as he's landing on you. And because Brenner is a very durable guy, because Ribovics is a very durable guy, I got a feeling this thing's going to go the full 15 minutes, being back and forth, all-out war, and we might not know who won at the end of the day because Brenner's going to get some takedowns here.
I mean, a gust of wind could take down Ribovics.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to go for that Kimura, when you try to take him down, he's going to latch onto one of your arms. He's going to start cranking on it, and he's going to use that to stand back up. But if you can settle in top position, you can beat this guy. You can win some minutes against him because he's very hittable at distance striking range, and he will eat 1 or 2 to give 1. And Brenner has that exact same style. So I just think that obviously Ribovics will be the guy doing more though, but I don't know who's going to be landing the heavier shots here. They're both going to be landing big ones.
Yeah. It's an interesting fight. And somebody in the chat brought up a good point. Like Brenner is losing a lot of these minutes as well. Like that I thought he lost the Tuhugov fight. I actually scored the fight 30-27 for Tuhugov. Like maybe I wasn't watching close enough, but they ended up giving it to Brenner there. He was losing the majority of the Kudus-Taladze fight and then came back. So he's not the best minute winner either. I don't think either of these guys are, which makes it kind of interesting, right? But Ribovics opened up minus 450, and he's currently minus 250. And we have Brenner opened up plus 350. He's currently plus 210. The over-under, it's set at 1.5. The over 1.5 is now minus 225, and the under 1.5 is plus 185. You got to imagine this fight goes over with how durable these guys are. I'm not sure why they put it at 1.5 here.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised because it is pretty juiced to that over right now. So that, that might even get switched to a 2.5 by the end of the day tomorrow.
It should. I'd be kind of surprised if it finished under 1.5, but
me too.
I was also surprised to see 80-year-old Muslim Salikov get a knockout. So value on Brenner, yeah, it could be like it could be one of those fights where it's an all-out war, and at the end of it, it's like who won? I don't know. It was an awesome fight. Brenner looks like he's about to retire. It should be an easy win for Estevam. Why do you think he's going to retire? He's only 27. He's not going to retire.
Yeah, but he's definitely got some miles on the engine. This kid.
He looks 40, but I don't think he's going to retire. 2 units on Ribovics. Let's go Argentina. Let's go. Hopefully Esteban has been working on not brawling and more foot movement. I think we're going to get a brawl here. Brenner is always losing until he wins. If Esteban throws a jab, I would feel more confident. Brenner's grappling is underrated. He's an okay grappler. Brenner's not really good at anything except being durable. He's a dog. For a shoot-the-box Diego Lima guy, I thought Brenner's BJJ would be much better. Hasn't shown much. Hasn't really got the opportunity to do so, though, yet. I mean, you're not taking down Joel Alvarez. It's going to be tough to out-grapple Oralby. He knocked out Krachewski. You're not really going to out-grapple Guram either. So, he hasn't really got to show it yet, but he's an okay grappler.
He's 11-0 to the sub, though.
Yeah.
So he's a good grappler, Brenner. You know, he just hasn't been able to really utilize it at this level yet. And this might be the first opponent that he gets to utilize it against.
Yep, for sure. A new Lou Sassoli tweet just dropped. I got to turn his notifications on. And he said it's a picture of Sydney Sweeney. She's in high heels, of course.
Okay.
All white. And the caption reads, "Not even kidding. I drink her urine."
Wow. Yeah. Lou, I'm typing it in right now. Let's see. There is Lou Sassoli.
Great follow. He's a great follow.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, boy. 41 minutes ago, it's a picture of, looks like Addison Rae with a turtle on her butt cheeks hanging out. Got the high socks on, and he says, I'm going to sin. Yeah,
he is. Is that Sydney, or is that, who's that? Who's Addison Rae?
That's Addison Rae. She's a TikToker turned singer, actress. Oh. She does it all.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I guess that's not Sydney. She looks like Sydney.
A little bit.
Yeah, those pictures look pretty similar. I would have just guessed that was Sydney.
Yeah. It's similar. Can you pull? No, I don't want to get kicked off YouTube. If I pulled up Lou Sassoli's Twitter, you wouldn't see us on here anymore.
Be the last stat diggers ever.
No, Jup. So the last one is Sydney, but the one with the turtle on her butt, that's Addison Rae. You got to zoom in. That's Addison Rae. I can zoom in. That's Addison. That's not Sydney. That's Addison Rae.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
right.
What else? Oh gosh, Lou. Oh my gosh. Oh, you know, have you?
You reposted Stack Diggers in between all the porn.
Thank you, Lou. Have you seen people doing the hey at Grok? Which one of my followers are most famous or whatever?
Yeah.
Everybody's doing that. Lou did one too, but he says, "Hey at Grok, which one of my followers give the best blowjob?"
What did Grok say?
He said, based on mutual engagements and bio vibes, Rick_Dubes edges out with his habitual line-stepping humor. Proceed with caution. Who's a Rich_Dubes?
I don't know. Rick Dubes. I don't know.
Apparently, he gives a good blowjob. Shout out to Rick Dubes, man. If you want a blowjob, go hit up Rick Dubes. All right, let's move on to the last fight we'll be talking about tonight. It is going to be Chris Duncan and Mateus Rebexy. Before we do so, we got almost 600 of you guys watching. If you guys could please do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We go live every Sunday, 10:15 p.m. Eastern time, and all good. Everybody makes mistakes. All right, so we'll talk about this fight last, and it's a good one to talk about. It is Mateus Rebexy going against Chris Duncan. We got Rebexy, who is 32 years old, 5'7" with a 66-inch reach. Chris Duncan, 32 years old, 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. Same age there. We got Duncan, 3-inch height advantage and a 5-inch reach advantage. Mateus Rebexy, he has 4-1 in his last 5 fights, a decision win against Nick Fiore, a knockout win against Loic Rajabov, a submission win against Roosevelt Roberts, a knockout loss to Carlos Diego Ferreira, and then a split decision win against My Titty Back Oral Boy. As far as Chris Duncan, he has 4-1 in his last 5 fights, a decision win against Omar Morales, a decision win against Yanal Ashmos, a submission loss to Manuel Torres, and then a submission win against Balaji Oki, and a submission win against Jordan Vucenic. Weezy, does Chris Duncan do it again? Does Chris Duncan get 3 guillotines in a row?
Well, I remember saying famously that there was no chance in hell that Walter Walker was going to get 3 looks in a row, and he proved me wrong, man. Chris Duncan's 4-1 in the UFC so far, and people keep doubting this guy. They keep making him an underdog over and over and over and over again. And I cashed on him again in the Oki fight. I cashed on him on the Vucenic fight. I hope they keep making him an underdog, and they made him an underdog again. But to be fair, when you look at Chris Duncan's last 5 opponents, Omar Morales, Yanal Ashmos, Manuel Torres, Balaji Oki, Jordan Vucenic, I think Mateus Rebexy is better than all of those guys. This guy, Rebexy, 32 years old, 22 professional fights, 7 wins by submission, 9 wins by knockout, 4-0 to the decision. So he wins minutes as well as moments. Constant pressure, heavy low kicks, serious power, and the ability to be able to mix in the wrestling. So, like, I really like everything that Rombeski does in the cage. He's the kind of fighter that I like to back because of how aggressive he is. But he does get hit a lot, you know, and Chris Duncan's a guy that I think his striking is a little bit underrated. He's done a very good job at the UFC level with his distance striking metrics, positive 1.3 distance striking differential, 44% accuracy. He's landed a knockdown and absorbed 0 knockdowns. And he's got a really good guillotine choke, and he's got the ability, actually, Brady, to be able to mix in the wrestling and win minutes with his offensive wrestling. So somebody like Rombeski, who's showing 45% takedown defense, Chris Duncan's showing 37% takedown defense. I could see this one winding up being a grappling match here because both of these guys attempt takedowns and get takedowns. Mateus is averaging 3.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. Chris Duncan's averaging 4.1. And I think both of these guys are very comfortable on the mat. So I think some people are going to think that this is going to be a striking match and it's going to be Rombeski pressuring forward, Duncan looking to create space. But I think that these guys are going to meet in the middle and these guys are going to be shooting takedowns on each other and trying to figure out which one of them is better suited to win minutes and moments in the grappling exchanges of this fight. Both of these guys train at American Top Team. And as a matter of fact, Brady, I heard when Chris Duncan's been on Lucrative's Parlay Madness show a few times. I don't know if you caught that.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a great guest, and I enjoyed watching him. But I remember him saying that, like, he's in the dorms in AT&T or at ATT, and in the next room is Rombeski. And he, like, Duncan even said, like, I can hear this dude jerking off at night. We share a wall, you know. So, like, it's wild that these guys are at the same camp. They're on the same mats, same training partners. Now they're gonna fight each other, and it's a great matchup, dude. This would have been a great main event for me. This is a phenomenal fight. These guys are all action fighters. They're both super aggressive. They're both finishing fights at this level, and they both just put on really exciting fights, and they both got that dog in them. So I can't wait for this one. I think it's going to play out really close, Brady. I might have money on Chris Duncan again this week.
Why not? If he keeps cashing for you, just let it ride. But yeah, like you meant, this is much tougher matchup than some of these other fights. I think they cut Vucenic, believe it or not.
Did they cut him?
Yeah, they cut him. They cut Vucenic. They said, "You're done. Get out."
Was it 2 or 3 fights?
They only gave him 2 when they cut him.
That's weird, man. He almost beat Guram, and he got caught in a guillotine by Chris Duncan. Why cut him? That doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if there's something going on behind the scenes, but so yeah, this was the main event as of tonight. So there are some rumors going around Twitter, but until Big Marcel tweets it, I'm not confirming anything. There's a lot of fake news sources out there, and we know who they are. And I have not. Let me check Big Marcel, and nothing.
Okay.
So as far as I'm concerned, we don't have a main event yet. But once Big Marcel tweets it out, then me and Weezy will look into the fight, and then we will talk about it throughout the week. But yeah, the rumor, Weezy, is Park versus Tetsuro Taira. Hong Sung Park, he was supposed to fight Steve Herszog next week, and apparently they might bring him in to fight Taira this week. And apparently they're still looking for a fight for Waldo.
Yeah, who's going to take a Waldo Cortez Acosta fight on less than a week's notice? So
I'll tell you who. Jared. Let's get Jared Vandera back in there.
He would take the fight.
He really would.
That dude never said no to anybody either. You know, like he won. He beat Harry Hunsucker on Dana White's Contender Series and called out Sergey Spivak. They gave him that fight, and he just got mauled by that vampire, man. So he doesn't care, you know. Like they could call Vandera, he'd fight Waldo.
Yeah, let's get Vandera in there. Let's get him in there. All right. I think this is hard, maybe not. Rebexi's pressure and gets hit. I have Duncan. Aussie has 3 units on Rebexi's. Let's go Poland. Duncan gasses out from going for another guillotine on a guy who has no neck and gets smashed. Colin liking Duncan there. All right. And M saying, just starting the episode, that Jason Herszog situation is definitely corruption. I'm sold, Uncle Wheezy. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's a wild one. But like I say, I don't get my predictions right all the time, Brady. But there's nothing's going to happen to Jason Herszog because this looks like somebody knew something, and Herszog just did what he was told to do.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so yeah, we did it. Went through all 10 fights, and I feel like they're going to add a couple throughout the week, but we literally can't talk about them yet. So what we're going to do now, Weezy, is we got to get back on track. Last week, the Stat Diggers parlay crashed and burned due to Marcus Buchecha. The piping of the week was Shar Magomedov. He won the fight, don't get me wrong, but he didn't go out there and pipe Mark Underbari and knock him out. The milking of the week, Carlos Leal went out there and completely shit the bed and got knocked out in 40 seconds. So we need to get back on track here. So let's start with the Stat Diggers parlay of the week. And there's a couple money lines that I don't mind this week, like Rodolfo Vieira. Like it's hard to lay minus 200 on the guy, but how does Tresean Gore win this fight? Is he going to guillotine Rodolfo? Is he going to outland him? He's going to outgrapple him? I don't think so. So maybe Rodolfo Vieira. Kevin Vallejos, he's minus 500. Can't do that. Actually, not much is sticking out. Not much is sticking out. You don't want to parlay Nakamura. You don't want to parlay Poliev. You don't want to parlay Ribovics against a dog and Brenner in what could be a close fight. Estevam, again, Estevam's minus 500.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't think there's a lot of parlay legs.
So what would you think about an over 1.5 in the Ribovics Brenner fight?
Yeah, I don't mind that.
I don't mind that. Let me look and see what my model says about that. Over under. So actually 4 of 5 Brenner fights and 4 of 5 Ribovics fights have went over at the UFC level. So 80% over a 10 fight sample size spanning both fighters. And at minus 225, we're paying 69%. It's almost a trifecta bet on my template. About 21.5% of savings between the 3 metric comparisons that I make. We could parlay the over 2.5 or the over 1.5 for that Brenner Ribovics, along with Rodolfo Vieira's money line over Tresean Gore, and that would be plus 112.
Okay,
and we'd be betting against somebody named Tresean.
Oh yeah, yeah,
which is plus EV.
It definitely is. Agreed.
Yeah.
I was trying to see if there's any totals sticking out, but not really, to be honest. So I guess it's gonna. I mean, I did like the over in the Vieira fight, but Vieira money line is just as fine, I'd say. So yeah, we'll do Vieira money line and the over in the Ribovics fight plus 112.
I like it. I think that's good.
All right. So the Stat Diggers parlay of the week is the over 1.5 rounds in the Ribovics fight, parlayed with Rodolfo Vieira. Who let the dogs out? Who let them out? Be very careful trusting Brenner's durability after the Alvarez beating, please. And yeah, I think Ribovics could potentially get him out of there late, but Ribovics is more like an attritional guy. Besides the Terrence McKinney fight, my gosh.
And I also think that they're going to be grappling a lot in this one too.
Yeah, they could. I mean, if Brenner wants takedowns, he can get them. They're free. They're easy. Ribovics can be taken down. All right. So now it is time. We'll start with the piping of the week. So for piping of the week, I don't know, man. Vieira could more so like a milker. Like he's going to milk you, I think.
Yeah.
Vallejos is definitely a piping candidate. Ribovics could potentially pipe. Estevam is more of a milker. I think it's probably Vallejos, right? I mean, I can't really think of another option.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I would make it Vallejos because I think he's better at everything that he does well. In the boxing is just better than Silva. Yeah,
I don't think there's gonna be many pipings this week. Vallejos is at B-A-L-L-A-E. I mean, who cares?
B-A-L-L-E-J-O-S.
J. Oh, that's tricky, huh?
Vallejos.
To pipe Danny Silva on site. All right, let's make it official. The on-site piping of the week is Kevin Vallejos to pipe. Oh, typo. It's getting late. There we go. To pipe Danny Silva on site. That is your official Stat Diggers piping of the week. Move fighter. Fight back. Show me something, fighter. Show me something. All right. So that is the piping of the week. Kevin Vallejos, and I like it. We need a pipe. We don't need it. We need Vallejos to go out there and pipe him, knock him out, get him out of there.
Yeah.
We don't need another decision. All right. It's time for the milking of the week. We got to make up from because last week, I mean, it was as bad as it can be. I mean, it couldn't have gone any worse for the milking of the week. Carlos Leal completely shit the bed. So now we got to make up for it. And for me, it just comes down to two options. I mean, I think it's either Rodolfo Vieira or it is Rafael Estevam. Both guys have milked a lot of their opponents. Vieira has milked many men in the cage, and same thing for Estevam. Estevam is a professional milker. That's all he does. So I'm fine with either Estevam or Vieira. I think they're both very live to milk their opponent this Saturday.
Yeah, and Vieira's, I mean, like the better price at -215, but the one thing that you can count on Estevam to do is just sniff crotch. He's, I mean, like over 20 takedown attempts per 15 minutes in his UFC fights, which is hilarious because he's spending more than half of his UFC cage time in control time positions. So he shouldn't even have time to shoot that many takedowns. But remember that Charles Johnson fight, dude?
Yeah.
Like he just would not, like he was sticking to Charles like glue for the full 15 minutes, man. So yeah, I think it's probably going to be Estevam that milks this dude.
All right.
And it could be Nakamura too. Nakamura is like, if he wants takedowns against Nathan Fletcher, he's going to be able to get them.
Yep, it could be Nakamura, but we're not trusting Nakamura.
No, I hear you, man. I'm with you on that.
Because I mean, at least with Estevam, he's going to wrestle. Like,
you know it.
If he doesn't, he got paid off by Herszog or something. He's going.
Dude, he's having an aneurysm if he's not shooting takedowns. I promise you.
All right. Let's make it official. The Stat Diggers milking of the week. Rafael Estevam to bring out a pail, wear a straw hat, drop to his knees, and go to work and milk Felipe Bunes for all the milk he has. Milk everywhere. There it is. The milking of the week. Rafael Estevam. Let's get back on track. Let's make up for Carlos Leal. And let's do it, man. Let's
get it.
Yeah, I did like 8 different tweets. I had to. Every time Yaya got dropped, I had to make a new tweet. It was ridiculous. Imagine if Dan Hardy was cage side.
I remember that when Guy Herbert got knocked out by Trinaldo, and he was like, he wanted to kill Herb Dean for not stopping it fast enough.
Right?
Yeah.
Just got here. You missed so much. You missed so much.
A lot.
Yaya showed he is a UAE warrior. Yeah, like his nickname. Yeah. Why did God have to curse him with no chin? No chin and no skill. Really everywhere. So yeah. All right. We did it. Got the milk of the week, the parlay of the week, the piping of the week. Went through all 10 fights. All that's left is we're going to kick it to Uncle Weezy. And Uncle Weezy, let the people know what you got going on this week. Any special plans, and also where they can find you.
No special plans for this week. Just the usual content for my Odd Shopper community. Wednesday night, Balls Deep breakdowns, full card breakdown. Thursday afternoon, Probability, where we do our Plus EV prop betting show. If you want access to that 4+ hours of content that I do every week, look me up on oddshopper.com, Uncle Weezy. You get access to my stat sheets that you see on the screen here, my over-under betting model, my prop betting model, my fight write-ups, my Discord, all my track bets, all the pay-per-view content, all included for $25 a month. Best way to support me and the work that I do. You can find me on X at MMA Weezy. You can find me on YouTube Uncle Wheezy, and I'll go live probably Thursday night with a short full card breakdown for this card. It's going to be a wild one, man. We're probably going to have a couple fights added here in the next couple of days, Brady. So we're going to have to stay on our toes, and we got to bounce back this week. So it's going to start with a big bet on Rodolfo Vieira to beat Teresian Gore. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I don't know, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. A lot can probably go wrong there. What about a big bet on? I don't know. I don't even know, dude. But we'll figure it out. We'll definitely figure it out throughout the week. Some stuff will start opening up. But yeah, appreciate everybody that hung out tonight. Had a great crowd, a great chat as always. Show went 3 hours somehow, but the recap took an hour. So
yeah,
that's how it goes. On the way out, I got to shout out our guy. That is Avery. Thank you so much, Avery, for sponsoring the show, guys. If you have not already, go give him a follow. MMA_Avery on X. Do appreciate it a ton. Thank you so much, Avery. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with the full card breakdown. Maybe, I mean, I'm probably not going to get a video out if we don't have a main event, but maybe Marcel can confirm it late tonight. And it's looking like it's going to be Taira versus Hung Sung Park, which is interesting. So, yeah, guys, best of luck for UFC Vegas 108. We got a couple good Apex cards coming up, UFC 319. So looking forward to that. And we will talk to you guys soon. See you later.